This is being recorded. UFC Fight Night Brunson vs. Holland takes place Saturday, March 20th from UFC Apex in Las Vegas. The main card will begin live on ESPN and ESPN Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. If you wish to ask a question, please click the hand icon and we will unmute you. Once you have finished, please press the hand icon again to remove yourself from the queue. One update before we begin, we will not be joined today by UFC heavyweight Harry Hunsucker. We will kick things off momentarily with number 10 ranked UFC middleweight Kevin Holland. Thank you.
Just seen Derek Brunson for the first time. He ain't been responding none of my DMs. It's making me sad. So I just seen him for the first time. I see the man. He looked just as skinny as me. I said, "Damn, weight cuts is real, ain't they?" Oh man, turn my phone off.
We are now joined by number 10 ranked UFC middleweight Kevin Holland. Kevin, thank you very much for joining us today.
No, thank you.
We'll take our first questions from Sumik Dada with Sportskita. Your line is open.
Hey Kevin, it's good to talk to you once again. Hope you're doing well.
Hope you're doing well.
I'm good, thank you. So right off the bat, how does it feel to finally get added to the UFC game?
Oh man, it feels good. You know what I mean? Kid like me coming up where I come from, you only get in a video game if you create a character or if you join the NBA or the NFL. I got a character off busting people across their head. That feels good.
Now, moving on to the fight this weekend and everything that's going on in the middleweight division right now. I don't know if you came across this, but Israel Adesanya said yesterday in an interview that you still have a long way to go before getting that title shot, even if you're victorious this Saturday against Derek Brunson. Do you have any response to that comment from the champion, knowing that you'll be on a 6-fight win streak this weekend?
From the who? You said the what? The ex-champ? He just went and lost his last fight. He ain't the champ. Right now, as far as I'm concerned, his opinion doesn't really matter. You know, I have the longer winning streak. He's coming off a loss. You know, I guess they could say that was at 205, but in my eyes, a fight is a fight. Weight class doesn't matter. You know, go watch my Instagram video. I used to shove change inside my cups in order to go up a weight class. This is nothing new to me. I'm true to this. Fuck Hasanya.
So do you think that the title fight should be the one after this fight?
Yeah, I'm fighting Kamaru Usman for the welterweight belt after this fight.
Fair enough. Okay, and speaking of the fight this weekend, there is obviously a massive gap in octagon competition between you and Brunson from last year. He fought once, which was a three-round main event, whereas you had five fights in 2020. Do you feel that's something that might play a factor to your advantage this weekend?
Nah, last year was last year and this year is this year. So it's a whole new year, a whole new ball game, a whole new situation. Last year I was hot and ready. This year we'll see if I'm still hot and ready. So if the hand's still hot, then he will drop. So we'll see.
You also mentioned yesterday you aren't a fan of fighting the whole 25 minutes. That being said, could we expect another quick knockout from you this Saturday?
Hey man, I take what they give me. If a quick knockout happens, I will be happy. If a quick submission happens, I will be happy. I don't plan on being there for 25 minutes. You know, it's like by the time we start fighting, it'd be close to 10 o'clock at night. And in Texas, that's 12. That's close to my bedtime. So I gotta get them in there and get them out.
Also, one other thing you mentioned yesterday that you were willing to step into that April 17th card, which Paulo Costa withdrew from. I'm just curious that would you still be down to fighting Robert Whitaker after all this is said and done? You know, down the road at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Robert Whitaker, if he gets past Kevin Gastelum, he'll be fighting for the belt, you know, and he'll become the official champ. But no, I'm down to fight whoever, whenever, however. It doesn't really matter to me. I can pull up in this room right now. We can scrap as long as I still get my check. I'm good.
Now, before I let you go, you obviously had five fights in 2020. You're the active throughout the entire year almost. Do you have a number in mind for this year?
I'm just trying to beat that record. They say 5 is the record, so if I can get it with 6, I'll be happy. Honestly, if they count this fight as a calendar year and that's 6, then that's awesome. I'm just trying to break that record. You know, it's like I feel like it's an easy record to break. 6 fights in 1 year, 7 fights in 1 year, 8 fights in 1 year. I mean, I could do that. That wouldn't be a problem. I've done it before. You know.
All right, we look forward to to your fight this weekend, and thank you for your time, Kevin.
Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Hunter with MMA Weekly. Your line is open.
Hey, Kevin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can.
How you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
In 2018, I believe it was after your scrap with Thiago Santos, Derek Brunson actually complimented you, saying you were here to stay on Twitter, and you even responded by thanking him. Did you think back then in 2018 you guys could be potentially competing against one another, despite the
Yeah.
kind words?
Yeah. So that was my manager that responded to him on Twitter. I don't run my Twitter. I've never even touched my Twitter before a day in my life. Every once in a while, he'll show me what's going on there, and I'll be like, "Man, you're doing a great job." But 2018, I would have told him thank you, just like I would tell him thank you now. You know what I mean? It's just a respectful part of me. But that being said, in 2018, when I got in the UFC after losing to Thiago Santos, I told my manager, I was like, if we're staying at 185 pounds, Derek Brunson's on the hit list. So here we are, 2021. Derek Brunson's here. I'm here, and he's for sure on the hit list. So now I just got to go hit him.
What was it like going on the Joe Rogan experience with Travis?
Man, dreams do come true. It was super amazing. You know, first show me and my mom ever watched together, willingly watched besides Lifetime, was Joe Rogan Fear Factor. So being able to go on the Joe Rogan podcast to me was amazing. You know, it's like my transmission broke on the way there. Had he said it was a Fear Factor, what do you say? How do you say it if you're trying to get into something like I don't know. If he said it was like something to prove that I could be a part of Fear Factor, I'd have drove my whole car there backwards the whole fucking time. You know? I love Joe Rogan, so yeah, I'm glad I made that. That was amazing.
Yeah, right on. Have you thought about what you might want next with the victory over Derek on Saturday, or are you just solely focused on the task at hand?
I'm definitely focused on the task at hand, but victory over Derek Brunson. I keep telling everybody probably thinks I'm playing. I'm gonna go down to 170 pounds and fight Kamaru Usman for the belt, or George Masvidal for his BMF belt, one or the other. Um, it's like it'd be a picture perfect road. I'll do George Masvidal at a catchweight, then I'll do Usman at 170. And it's like I woke up today at 188 pounds. I ain't cutting no weight for this fight. Life is easy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we know that you're capable of going down to 170. Have you thought about potentially maybe the winner of Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum?
I mean, if the winner of Kelvin Gastelum and Whitaker is Whitaker, then Whitaker should be fighting for the title. Hell, I feel like Whitaker low-key should be fighting for the title now, but unfinished business between him and Kevin Gastelum makes sense. Winner of that fight should be fighting for the title. 185 division is really in a weird situation. Had the champ won the 205 belt and decided to stay at 205. Like he said, the division would be stagnant, like he said about John Jones at 205. So right now, I feel like it's kind of stagnant. I would like to create some buzz at 170 and then come back up to 85. That's really what the goal is. Create some
For
buzz,
sure.
come back. That way it's not so stagnant, and that way it's not so, same people doing the same thing. And with the quote-unquote ex-champ, since he's coming off a loss, saying that I don't deserve a title fight right after this one makes sense. He's not doing anything but repeating what I told him last year when we seen each other. I told him I had like 4 or 5 more wins before I could see him. It's just when I see him, I want to make sure I take him out.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Do you have any more to give us regarding that exchange you just had with Derek Brunson before you came on here?
No, I was just telling him, you know what I mean? Like I don't understand why you ain't been responding to my DMs all week. You said there was no hard feelings, so I don't understand why you ain't responding to me. You know what I mean? We're both here to get paid, so I figured the two people who's gonna make the money would have a good conversation with each other before the fight. But I just don't think he wants to play my mental warfare. It's like I just want to have a good casual conversation right now and in the cage. He doesn't want to have one at all, so we'll just have one inside the cage. He talked to me a little bit when we were doing. He opened his mouth a little bit, and I can tell you right now, that's one thing his coaches probably didn't want him to do. So since he's down to talk now, he'll be down to talk then.
Appreciate the time, Kevin. Good luck on Saturday.
No, thank you.
We'll go next to Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I want to ask you about being on your first UFC poster. What did you think about just the picture they chose of you just kind of screaming and Derek being chill?
It's perfect. Honestly, it's perfect. Perfect for me, not perfect for Brunson. Brunson has been chill his last 2 fights, so that's pretty cool. But when you piss that guy off, he comes in, no blah 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 blah, big old lips like freaking Bubba off Forrest Gump, charging in with his head forward. So it's a good poster for me, bad poster for him. But it's my second poster. My first poster was against Jack Hermanson, even though the fight didn't happen. So first real poster, second poster with the UFC. But it's amazing. I love it. I'm enjoying it very, very much so.
After the year you had, all the bonuses, I mean, do you still have things you need for the Green Machine, or have you moved on to a new project?
I mean, old school cars, you can always switch it up. Old school cars, you never really have to have a new project, but I do have a few new projects. I like the Green Machine, truly do like the Green Machine. I think it's an amazing car. I'm still trying to figure out the transmission exactly how it needs to go. I think the shifter cable on there is a little off. So, I mean, we'll see. Green Machine still has plenty of work to be done with it. These old school cars, you can easily put over 100 grand into them. So I'll easily put over 100 grand into every single one of my old school cars.
Kevin, what's your fight week routine? Because obviously at the Apex, let's be honest, you've done the process more than anybody else. So what is your routine by now? You have to have it down.
I don't really have a routine. We just pull up, do a little shakeout. You're on lockdown. So then you go the next day, I go to the PI, have a little fun there. Next day, I go to the PI, have a little fun there. And then it's weigh-ins, and then it's fight time. There's not very much to do. Me and my coach may play dominoes. He brings his PlayStation. We may play 2K. We talk shit. I'm on the phone a whole lot, and I sleep a lot more. So it's really just chill. And I do a whole bunch of videos with my little pinky ring and show the diamonds dancing. So it's really nothing too much to do but chill.
As you get these bigger fights, keeping that active schedule is gonna be a little bit harder. I think you know that. Does it bother you that you may not be able to get those, hit that 5-6 fight mark if it keeps going well for you? Or does the extra money, it just makes it all good?
I'll retire and I'll just transfer over to another sport. Therefore, I can continue to fight as much as I want to. I'm just playing. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? It's like there's always welterweight, and there's always taking crazy fights at 205. We'll figure out the schedule. We'll stay active though.
Just one quick one about Derek. On this 3-fight win streak he's on, do you feel like he's a particularly different fighter than when he was going a little bit up and down with the losses?
Yeah, I feel like the move that he has made with Henry Hoof has made him definitely a better fighter. Striking looks a lot better. He seems a lot more calm when he's in there, and I think it's amazing. But that also being said, I don't think he's been emotional during any of his fights lately. So if you can get him a little bit emotional, you might not see the same Derek Brunson you've seen in the past 3 fights. You might see the Derek Brunson you've seen who was going up and down with the fight. And that even being said, going up and down with the fights, people say that like Derek Brunson has lost to bad people. He's only lost to really, really good people. So that being said, it's time to find out how really, really good I am.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Omar Mert with S Sport. Your line is open.
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. Kevin, Adesanya tried light heavyweight but failed. If you get the belt, do you want to try light heavyweight? Same thing?
You saying like go up a weight class?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to go to any weight class that I can make it to. You guys, I think you guys don't really understand what I say when I say I woke up today at 188 pounds. I got here at 192, 194 pounds. I'm a light guy. I'm already doing what Israel Adesanya tried to do against John Blachowicz every time I step in here at 85. You guys just don't notice it because of my frame. Uh, Now, if I was fighting at 70 this whole time, you guys would be like, oh my God, now he's coming up to 85. That's a big jump, right? No, just don't get caught up on the hype so much. That's it's I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I don't want to be an asshole. Give me another question. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. Another question. Adesanya and his coach insist he wants the Darren Till. What do you think about this? Is Darren Till is a contender?
Look, I'm gonna tell you what I feel about Israel Adesanya, and then you can ask me other questions besides Israel Adesanya. All right?
Okay.
I think Israel Adesanya has a titty, and he was doing steroids to get that titty. All right. Next question.
Okay, not more
Hey guys,
Adesanya.
I don't want to talk about Israel Adesanya. You know what I mean? It's like you
Okay.
guys always want to talk about Israel Adesanya, and it's like he just lost. You know what I mean? He just lost a fight where he got beat up on the feet. He's supposed to be the best striker in the sport, and then he got taken down and beat up there. You guys don't talk about that, but you guys talk about him stepping up a weight class and doing this, him doing that. It's like then everybody's gonna view me as the bad guy because I'm up here telling you guys are fucking nuts for riding his dick so damn hard. Stop riding his dick so hard.
Okay, another question from the fighting. You mentioned 2K. Which team do you choose the most, and do you have any favorite team in NBA?
Do I have any what? Say it again one more time, please.
You mentioned 2K games. Which team do you choose the most, and do you have a favorite team in the NBA?
Oh yeah, NBA. I choose the Lakers over everybody. I didn't understand what the
In-
first one was, but Lakers all day, every day. That's my number one team for sure. Always will
Okay,
be. Always, forever.
okay. Sorry for the same questions, Kevin.
You're
Good luck on
okay.
Saturday.
It's okay. It's okay, bro. I don't mean to be an asshole. It's just everybody wants to talk about Israel Adesanya, and he's coming off a loss. Nobody talks about that. They just talk about him like he's some type of god or something, and he's not.
Okay, good luck, man.
Thank you. Good luck to you too.
We'll go next to Augusto Niez-Gay with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. Kevin, you've said yesterday that you prefer to fight 15 minutes instead of 25, and that UFC can make you the quote-unquote co-main champ. So I want to know, if you would have to choose someone from the division to be a contender for that title, who would it be? Who do you think deserves it, apart from you, of course?
Man, the co-main champ who doesn't want to go 25 minutes. There's only one person in the world who doesn't want to go 25 minutes besides me, and that's probably Derek Lewis. If you're talking about 85ers, I have no idea. Man, it's like a lot of those guys like the idea of just sitting there looking at each other for 25 minutes. I hate that. I want to fight hard for 15 and go home.
Sounds good. So Derek Lewis is the current aspirant to the champ. I mean the runner up.
Yeah, Derek Lewis he's not the runner-up. He's the man. You know what I mean? I'm the runner-up. Derek Lewis is the man. I'm the runner-up.
Okay. And Kevin, I have seen you on your Instagram stories that yesterday you were signing the official posters. So I want to ask you, why did you choose that particular spot for your signature? And I am talking about the Brunson's forehead. I mean, were you trying to get into his head literally this time or not?
Nah, X marks the target. Nah, I'm just playing. I actually got in there and I looked over to the side and somebody had signed like right on my mouth. And I was like, oh, really? We're playing this game. So then I just started signing on the man's forehead. It was just part of the game. We started playing and I started playing even harder.
Okay. And Kevin, Derek said that you couldn't make it personal this time. I want to know, does that bothers you or is just other thing that happens during the fight week?
No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be personal for me to punch you in the face. It doesn't have to be personal for me to want to still knock you out. It doesn't have to be personal for him to still be emotional. And he's an emotional fella. For him to say it's not personal, it must be pretty personal. So we'll see. Like I said, he hasn't responded to none of my DMs this week. He hasn't looked at none of the things that I've shared about him this week. It's just really sad, man. I just want to have a conversation with the man, and he doesn't want to talk to me. I'm big mouth, and he don't want to talk to me. It's really hurting my feelings. It may not be personal for him, but man, I'm emotionally scarred.
I have to ask you, man. What do you share with him on the social media? What do you send to him?
Hold on, let me look at it. It's so many. It's so many that I have to look at it. Like it's every day, all day. I'm just tagging them, just trying to talk to them.
But
The
what
last one,
their
the
memes,
last
their
one.
videos? Yeah,
It's
tell me.
videos. He had an MMA junkie video, and I tagged him, and I said, "Derek Brunson, bro, chill. We're not in the picture." He was talking about getting a title fight, and then there was this really good one. I really liked this one. It says, "You cannot suffer the past or future because they do not exist. What you are suffering is the memory and your imagination." I said, "Derek Brunson, don't think about the Izzy fight. It doesn't exist." So I thought that one was really amazing. I texted him. I said, "Yo, I can't wait to see you." He didn't message me back. I said, "Damn, I was trying to see you. Why they make me leave in the car?" This was the other day. We were both at the same venue. They made me leave before he pulled in, and I was just sad because I really wanted to see if he was doing the blonde hair, black hair, short hair, long hair, and then my coach ended up seeing him, and he's doing short blonde hair. So he looks fantastic. Did his hair really well, better than my hair. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, and my last question, Kevin. Which type of fight do you imagine for Saturday night?
Which fight am I? What?
Which type of fight are you imagining for Saturday night?
Honestly, man, I don't really know. It's like hopefully Derek Brunson goes out there and stands up for a little while. Hopefully he shoots for a takedown and slams me like all the times he ever said he was going to. I just want him to do everything that he ever said he was going to do to me, and then we could figure it out after that. So yeah, I just hope it gets real freaky in there. The freaks come out at night.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin, and good luck on Saturday, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kevin. You're all set.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We will be joined next by UFC bantamweight Gustavo Lopez.
Got it? Okay, alright, have fun, bye.
We're now joined by UFC bantamweight Gustavo Lopez. Gustavo, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi.
We will take our first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Gustavo, can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, when you've been the face of a promotion like Combate Americas and they sent you everywhere with the belt, what is the experience like to start over a bit in the UFC and, work your way back up from the prelims to the main card with less attention?
I actually love it. I love the fact that been considered the underdog for all my fights. It just gives me another another way to just kind of show that I belong. Like everyone, they just don't know about who I am yet. So I'm excited to go out there and just perform.
How did it help you being managed by a former fighter and a pioneer in Misha Tate earlier in your career in terms of helping you to get to this level and just those extra lessons that you may not have gotten from someone else?
No, the friendship with Misha and the way we kind of she helped me with being my manager at the time was just so much. Just took care of me so much, physically, emotionally. She is like a mother to me. She's always been there. Even when I first started, when I first moved to Vegas, I lived on her couch, and she eventually I got a room, and it just she helped me grow so much, and I'm just 100% grateful to have the opportunity to be around such a pioneer and such a mentor. Her mental strength is one of the things that I really admire. Just she fights so hard with all her heart, and it's just beautiful the way she works hard and everything.
I know she's been doing her thing with one championship, but since she's been back in the States, has she had any input or just talks with you about the business side as you've gone to the UFC?
Yeah, she's back in the gym. She's just working out, staying in shape. But we always get a little small conversations about, just go out there, be myself, and be that smiley, happy dude that I am.
With your stuff yesterday about Adrian and everything else, I feel like people had different interpretations. Is there beef, or did those comments just come from the confidence in yourself?
I think it just came. There is no beef. I actually saw Giannis soon I got back from the PI. We little fist bump. There's no animosity. There's no hatred. There's no nothing. We're two land fighters that love to fight. So we're gonna go out there and put on a show.
My final question, just what would you like to show most from yourself this Saturday?
I would love to just show my growth. Lately, all my fights been standing, and I got a little bit of submissions, but I think my ground is so underestimated, and I feel like I'm one of the best out there. So I'm excited to showcase my improvement in my standing, but also showcase my ability to do the full, to be a well-rounded fighter.
Hey, thanks, Gustavo, and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Augusto Niez-Gay with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
Gustavo, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien?
Muy bien, aquí.
Gustavo, mi primera pregunta es, después de haber visto tu participación ayer en el Media Day presencial y haber escuchado las respuestas, ¿se te nota que estás un poco molesto con el hype que trae Yáñez y quizás con que no se te reconozca tanto en Estados Unidos como te reconocemos aquí en Latinoamérica, que sabemos de lo que sos capaz y de todo lo que has hecho en Combate Américas? ¿Es esto lo que te pasa? ¿Es esto lo que sentís?
No, de nada. Es como, eran las preguntas que me preguntaron. Estoy listo y para esta pelea. Tu hype y lo que pasó, no, de nada me importa. Lo miré ayer. No hay nada, no, there's no animosity. Aquí estamos para pelear. Es el trabajo que hacemos. Pura vida, personas no me conocen aquí en Estados Unidos como me conocen allá con los latinos. Yo sé que soy uno de los mejores del mundo y lo voy a enseñar este sábado.
Perfecto. Y bueno, a ver, realmente se ha visto una mejora impresionante en lo poco que hemos podido ver el año pasado. Debutaste contra Balishvili con 20 horas de anticipación, te fue muy bien a pesar de la derrota. Después lograste tu primera victoria contra Birjak. ¿Qué es lo que vamos a ver este fin de semana en este nuevo Gustavo López?
Ojalá miramos todo. Miramos mi striking, miramos cómo estoy en el piso y voy a ir a ganar la ganada, para ganar.
Perfecto. ¿Y de qué tenés que cuidarte en cuanto a lo que has analizado de Adrian Yanez?
Pues sus manos y sus pies, es bueno arriba, sin striking. Pero, la cosa es que le gusta ir para frente, también me gusta ir para frente a nosotros. Vamos a estar ahí listos en el medio del octagon y ganar esta pelea.
Perfecto. Y para terminar, Gustavo, quiero preguntarte, el año pasado peleaste 2 veces. Quería saber cómo venís analizando este 2021, si pensás pelear un poco más seguido, si pretendés pelear 2, 3 veces, quizás un poco más. ¿Qué es lo que tenés pensado?
Y me dejan, quiero pelear hasta otros 3 veces más este año.
Bien.
Ojalá.
Perfecto, Gustavo. Muchas gracias y buena suerte el sábado.
Gracias.
We'll take our final questions with Zach from UFC.com.
Okay, so obviously 2020 was a good year for you. You kind of have to do that.
I feel like I needed to go out there and perform. I feel like my skill level is there. I train with one of the best in the world. We got Cody Stamen at the gym. We got Sterling. Marab showed up. We got Joseph Benavidez at Extreme Couture. We have a bunch of good dudes. and I know I belong in this division. For as deep as it is, I feel like I'm one of the top. But I'm a newcomer coming in, so I'll go in there. I'll keep getting my W's, and I'll slowly come up the rank.
How reassuring was getting into fashion that was
It's great, man. It's actually better than I expected. I expected war in that fight. You know, I know Burchek could win out there, and he's gone out there and finished his last 5 opponents. He was on a first fight finishing streak for a while, so I knew he was dangerous, but I knew we put on the work to be ready. I feel that his style excites me. The fact that he's such a good striker, and he loves coming forward is gonna be a fun. When you get 2 land fighters in there, it's gonna be a war. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I feel like I'm overall the better, well-rounded fighter. You know, I feel like at the moment he might have better striking than me, but my striking's been good. I've been highlighting people for a minute, so I'm not scared about my striking. We've been working a lot on my striking. Ground, it's just.
Thank you very much, Gustavo. You're all set.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
We will be joined next by UFC strawweight Cheyanne Buys. We are now joined by UFC strawweight Cheyanne Buys. Cheyanne, thank you very much for joining us today. Take our first questions from Julian Kivitz with Independent Media. Your line is open.
Hi, Cheyanne, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, just not see you.
Okay, it's all good. I'm not sure if you can remember me. This is Julian from Cape Town. I interviewed you once or twice at the EFC, and you were very vocal about fighters' rights and fighters being treated fair. I'm not sure if you can recall. I won't blame if you don't understand, or don't recall at least. Just tell me the step up from a smaller promotion to the UFC in terms of how much the UFC values fighters and just the treatment you've been receiving since you stepped up from the Dana White series and where you are right now.
Well, the step up for me, it's really no step up. I have so many fights that, for me, I've always believed I could be at this level, and now that I am at this level, I'm not even celebrating. I just need to continue to prove myself and prove my worth and prove why I feel I'm with the highest level.
No, what I meant was in terms of the treatment you're getting from the promotion and in terms of the promotion looking after you, you know?
Oh, the treatment is wonderful. Like when I came here, I landed here in Vegas on Tuesday, and from the Contender Series, being in the same hotel with the same workers to now being in the UFC at the same hotel and the same workers, the treatment us fighters get here, it's been unbelievable. It's been mind blowing. Like I almost feel like I just don't even deserve it yet. Like that's how they are to us. I mean, my husband and I, we just sat down last night and we just feel super blessed alongside these fighters.
Yeah, and I obviously know personally of JP's his journey also, and your journey from South Africa, and also just credit to you guys also as a couple what you've been through. I mean, I've watched your journey, and JP, like I said, from his wrestling days when you were still a kid, and to where you guys were, from the EFC, and you moved to the USA, and it's already tough as for fighters to find their feet and to get the opportunity to fight in an organization like the UFC, but for JP to leave the country, also his homeland. What is the challenges for you as a couple? I mean, a married couple, you are making history also, and what's the excitement that comes along with it, just to where you are right now?
Well, when we left South Africa, we left October 1st, 2019. Now here we are, we're making our debuts together March 20th. In that time frame, I cannot lie, it's super tough for us. Like, we luckily were able to get out of the country before the pandemic. That's why we're here. But since we left, everything's been life-changing. We basically had to start back from ground zero. We came with little money, and we just had to restart our lives together. We were fortunate enough to fight together for LFA and fight for Contender, and both earned contracts. But we're just now getting on our feet. It's been amazing to be able to go alongside with on this journey together. Like when in South Africa, we were at our highest high together. He was doing wonderful there. He took care. Now, when we left South Africa together here, both hit rock bottom. We both were at our lowest lows. Our love for each other is just growing every day, and being able to do this together again, it's been nothing.
And yeah, I wouldn't keep you long. Just wanted to say, from South Africa, all the best, and we are rooting for you and JP all the way. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
We'll take our next questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Cheyanne, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Awesome. Cheyanne, a lot of people loved the scrum yesterday, myself included. I wanted to ask, how did you first meet JP?
Oh, it's quite a story. Actually, I used to live here in Las Vegas, and my head coach was Dennis Davis out at Extreme Couture here. And my head coach actually traveled to Cape Town one day to go corner a teammate of mine. They actually, JP and head coach back then, ran into each other. They knew each other, and JP was questioning him. He was like, "I know you have a lot of females over at Extreme Couture." He was like, "Who's the nicest girl?" And my coach was like, "I think you would really like this girl, Cheyanne." And crazy enough, he was actually already trying to message me on Instagram, and I was kind of a brat. I ignored him a lot for many months, actually. When my coach told him about me then he was messaging me even more, writing me all these nice things. And one day I was just like, oh man, this guy's very persistent. I was like, let me just write him back and I'll give him some attention. And the day I started writing him back, he was like, "You're the most beautiful woman in the world. I'm gonna marry you. You don't know it yet." And I was just like, "You're right. I don't know it yet. Like, this guy's crazy." I was like, he's just telling me everything I want to hear. But he was actually scheduled to fight, and we were just messaging. We talked every day, and he was like, "Hey, my fight fell through. I'm gonna come see you in America." What? I was like, "No way." Little did I know that man showed up at my doorstep, flew all the way from South Africa, showed up at my doorstep, and he was like, "Listen, I am not here to make you my girlfriend. I'm here because you are my girlfriend." So he kind of gave me no choice, but I mean, I fell in love with him since then. The day we met each other, we have not left each other's side. He stayed in Vegas for a month, and I went back to South Africa with him, not to move. I just went there to go train with his team, just be with him and get to know him more. And then while we were there, I realized that I love this guy. I was like, he's my best friend. Where do we go from here? I'm all the way in Vegas. You're all the way in South Africa. How do we make it work. It just didn't seem real. He was like, listen, I'll take care of you here. He back to Vegas. I packed up stuff. I traveled to South Africa and started a life with him, and we've been inseparable since the moment.
Well, for one, that's very beautiful. Two, I think your coach deserves some credit. That's the real MVP right there for JP.
Yeah.
I know your dad will be in the corner. Real quick, did JP win him over quickly, or did it take a minute?
Actually, so my dad's never liked any guy that I've ever liked, first of all. So when I told him about JP, obviously it's like a tricky situation when you're talking to someone online. But when I told my dad about him at first, my dad actually knew of him. My dad is the biggest MMA fan I know. And when I told him his name, he was like, oh, that's the guy that suplexed the guy on Contender Series. And I was like, yeah, that's him. And so my dad knew of him. I introduced him to my family when he was here. And immediately my family just felt this vibe that, who as a man at the time, 22 years old, just gets up, travels on a flight, he doesn't know, he knew I was real, but just traveled and came to me and he was like, listen, you're my girlfriend. Like, I'm not leaving here without you. I think my parents kind of realized that he was young, but he was a man of his word. And they knew of him in his training gym over in South Africa. And when I told my family I wanted to go there, they were very supportive of it, shockingly, which I did not think my dad would be because I'm a daddy's girl. But my parents, since day one, have been very supportive, and my dad loves him. My dad considers him just as close as. So it's been very nice to have my family love him just as much.
My final question, once again, he's going to be in the corner, and you told the story how you told your dad you want to be the female Karate Kid. So how important will his voice be in the corner along with JP and your coach?
I told my dad not to speak in the corner. My dad is there specifically just to watch a show. My dad, he has worked relentlessly towards helping me make my dreams come true, and the fact that there's no crowd, there is no way that we could not let Dad miss this for anything. My dad has done everything in his power to help me since a baby to stay in karate, stay in taekwondo when I made that transfer, and then when I made the transfer to MMA, he's been my number one fan. Ever since I started fighting, he used to study every single girl, and it's just unbelievable, the support from my dad, and there's no way that so he's just there for the show.
Well, I hope he enjoys it. Cheyanne, thank you for the time and good luck.
Thank you so much, guys.
We'll go next to Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com. Your line is open.
Hey, Cheyanne. I know a lot of questions about you and JP fighting on the same show, so I apologize for more of those. But a lot of fighters talk about when they have teammates on the same card, having someone around that understands what it's like to go through weight cutting and fight preparation. It's just nice to have that kind of person around. What's it like with a husband and wife? Because I imagine that brings a whole other kind of dynamic to this week.
Oh, it's husband, wife, and a teammate on this card of ours. So it's been awesome. Like, we personally love it. Whenever JP fights, I'm cutting weight with him. Whenever I fight, he's cutting weight with me. So the fact that we just get to go and do this together, cut weight together, it's nice because it's paychecks one night and we're both doing it together. That's the way I look at it as. If one fights, I fight. If he fights, this is our job. This is what we do. Again, we're best friends. So in the house, if one's dieting for a fight, the other person's dieting. Right? We really respect each other at this level, and it's just been so fun to experience this together the same night, and this whole week has been nothing but good vibes. We have our teammate Macy also fighting on this card. It's just been nothing but happiness here all week for us, even leading into the fight. Obviously the tension, grumpiness is always going to be there some days, but then every night when we go to bed, we just speak about we have an opportunity to start our legacy. And for that reason, we're bringing everything in the kitchen.
Obviously, it seems like you got a very positive, upbeat experience with this, and I'm sure you've heard stories or had questions about the pressure that comes along with this, though, with both of you fighting on one card. I know Anthony Pettis has said in the past, after he fought on the same card as his brother Sergio, he really didn't want to do that again because it's just so much, so much emotion involved with watching, someone you love fight, and then you got to go out and do it again. And obviously, that's how this is going to work with JP fighting early in the night and you on the main card. Have you wrapped your head around that? I mean, it seems like you're really upbeat about it, but I know there is a certain level of pressure that comes along with that.
Of course, there is a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, this is going to be my 25th cage fight. I got to be able to control my emotions. I don't really see what kind of the big deal is, but I guess that's me. Everyone is different. I respect what Anthony says about his brother. Like, that's his family. Like, but my husband, I've watched him prepare. Whatever happens is in God's hands. There's nothing I can do. I trust my husband's capability to go out there and get the job done for us, and trust my capability to go out there and get the job done. So for me, it's just going out there and showing the support as a wife. I'm going to make that walk with him. Damn straight, I'm going to make that walk with him, actually. Like, I'm going to be right there by his side, just like he's going to.
And with that being said, coming off the Contender Series, Contender Series fighters do end up getting, a lot of attention coming into the UFC because you do kind of get a little bit of a bigger platform to come into the UFC because a lot of people watch the Contender Series. It's a more intimate show with only 5 fights on one card, that kind of thing. But we have seen, we have seen some Contender Series fighters go on and have great things. Obviously, your teammate Jeff Neal, great performances, top 10 fighter, top 15 fighter. We have some others we've seen, kind of fall short. So how do you deal with that part of it, coming in with the expectation, coming out to Contender Series, and obviously I'm sure you want to make a big debut.
I don't really see any expectations. I feel like my Contender Series showed exactly who I was. And I feel all my fights show exactly who I am. Every time I step into that cage, I'm going to just go out there and stay true to myself, and I'm going to show you guys what I know about myself. And that's what I love about fighting is it's a mental warfare in there. I mean, we're all skilled. Once you're at this highest level, even at Contender Series, that's the high level to get to there. Everyone's good, but when you get in there, it's a 50-50 chance, but if you have any self-doubt in yourself, it's going to show. So whenever I step into that cage, I have 100% confidence, and I'm going to just show you guys who I am and what.
And last one for me, obviously you and JP are looking to make history as the first husband and wife to win both of your fights on a UFC card. So can you give me a prediction for his fight and then for your fight?
I don't really like to make predictions because I'm not no Conor McGregor. he can make the predictions. Me, I just go out there and whatever happens, happens. Obviously, we both want the finish. I can see my husband definitely submitting his guy or TKOing his guy for sure. Me, I can see any. I'm not going to make a prediction because whatever is presented in that moment, I'm going to take it.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll take our next questions from Omer Mert with S Sport. Your line is open.
Hello, Cheyanne. Hello, Cheyanne. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you. You came to UFC and all these media and other stuff. How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel good. It definitely makes me feel good. I've been in this sport a very long time, and I've always known I can get to this level. And now that I am here at this level and with the UFC, it's just very bittersweet for me. It makes me almost like want to cry.
Okay. We know the biggest goal always the title, but what do you want to achieve first in the UFC?
I'm sorry, what was that?
We know biggest goal always the title, but what do you want to achieve first in the UFC?
I want to achieve my first win in the UFC.
Yeah. Sorry, my English.
It's okay. I just want to achieve going out there, winning by a finish on my debut. That's my first goal, and then from there, I'll evaluate my next goal. I go by little goals. Obviously, the goal is to get to that belt, but I need to take baby steps to get there.
Okay, my last question. If you win this match, who do you want from the UFC in your second fight?
Whoever
Is
they
there
are.
a specific name or?
No, I mean there's quite a few girls in this division. They're all killers. They're all good. I'm just gonna take whoever they give me.
Okay, thank you, Cheyanne. Good luck on
Thank you so
Saturday.
much.
Thank you very much, Cheyanne. You're set.
Thank you. Good.
We will be joined next by number 11 ranked UFC women's bantamweight Macy Chiasson. We are now joined by number 11 ranked UFC women's bantamweight Macy Chiasson. Macy, thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Take our first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press. Your line is open.
Hello, Macy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good.
So to start with the obvious one, there have been a couple hurdles getting back to the cage for you. How are you feeling as the fight is finally just about here?
Man, it's been, I think for everyone, 2020 until now has been a pretty rough year and a lot of ups and downs. And you do what you can, you know, getting sick and then having, you know, heart surgery and stuff like that. It definitely was a setback, but you know, I think a little bit of time off, I was able to grow mentally, you know, and figure out my game, you know, as a ranked fighter now. So it's almost a blessing in disguise. I mean, it sucked. I was out for a while. I wasn't able to fight Sajara, and and just getting through a bunch of injuries. It's never fun, but it's a part of the game. And I think just being focused and staying focused, on what's important in front of you is it's the biggest thing. So I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm actually like having fun this week, besides the weight cut. But I'm really looking forward to getting back in the cage and just being in the moment.
Can we go back a bit? So obviously with the fight recently, you get through fight week, you're here, and then they tell you that Marion has COVID. They got to push the fight back. Can you just explain your reaction and everything to move the fight around?
I mean, I was already in a good place, that week. So it sucks because it's like, okay, that means your camp's prolonged, and I really wanted to fight Marion. So, getting a short notice opponent kind of really didn't seem like a good idea for me, because I'm ready to start fighting good girls. I'm ready to start fighting people who are going to bring something to the table, and I have to work really hard for. And it's something that I enjoy and look forward to when I go to training, knowing that I'm gonna fight someone who's ranked and someone who's been around for a while. So yeah, I mean, it sucks, we had to postpone it, but it just means more time to work and more information to gather.
Can I ask, what is it about Marion that you like so much? Is it about rankings? Is it about the style matchup? What is it that you really wanted to stick to fighting her?
I think stylistically is one. Ranking is also a big factor. She's also a vet. I mean, her last 3 opponents have not been, Kat Zingano and Rocky Pennington, and I mean, she's fought Andrade. She's fought a lot of notable people, and I'm ready to put myself against someone like that. I think it's time for me to step up. It's been a year since I fought, and I've grown a lot since then, and I'm ready to produce and have fun and show people, what I can do against someone like that. Not that I think that necessarily I'm going to go out and destroy her. I mean, it could happen, it could not happen, right? It's all about testing myself against game opponents, and I think she's a game opponent.
Hey, thank you, Macy, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Macy. You're all set.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
We will be joined shortly by UFC welterweight Max Griffin. We are now joined by UFC welterweight Max Griffin. Max, thank you very much for taking the time today.
What up? How you guys doing?
Good. We'll take our first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey Max, how are you?
Beautiful. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good personally. Congratulations, welcoming a new child. So the obvious question, do you feel that new motivation and everything else people talk about as you go into this one?
Yeah, bro. I got that pregnancy glow, bro. I honestly feel like a Papa Bear. It's not like I needed any more motivation than I already have. I have a son already. He's 9, but he's like a teenager. But this new baby, bro, it gave me. I feel that primal like protection. Like even when I was at home after he was born, like anyone looked at me. I mean, I know it was fight week, kind of fight mode, but it's that primal thing, bro. I feel like a mama bear with her cubs, and I'm ready to unleash. I'm ready to unleash on anyone who's in front of me, and who's in front of me is.
All right, I hear you. Obviously, routine is very important in terms of getting into the zone when you finally hit fight night. So, how have you managed that as your fight camp winds down? Because obviously, babies, they have their own schedule, they have their own plans.
Yeah, man. The first couple weeks, or the first week, my sleep was about 2-hour nights. So it was kind of tough, but then he eased in. I started getting full sleep. But when I got to the hotel fight week, I knew I'd get a full sleep. I actually had the longest sleep of my life last night. I went to sleep at about 10:30, woke up at 7:30, about 8 hours, 9 hours, I don't know. But I can't sleep that long. Too many dreams. I started dreaming. I had nightmares, good dreams. But I'm recharged. I'm refreshed. I love my baby, but you know, when I'm sleeping, bro, it just hits you can't ignore it. You know what I mean? I know my lady take care of him in the middle of the night. I might go make a bottle or something, but he cries, bro. Just hits your soul. They feel it in your bones. So it's good to get some, peace and quiet this week and ready to unload and get back to my family.
To talk about the fight, just stylistically with Song, how do you feel you match up with him, and what do you think he does well?
Song's a good fighter. When I first got the call for him, I wasn't too entirely excited. He's a good guy though. He has a good right hand. He has some good kicks, but he doesn't like pressure. I'm Mr. Pressure, Mr. Aggression. I'm looking forward to it. I'm more well-rounded. I got better cardio. I hit harder. I'm meaner. Better wrestling. Better. Comes from a good place, but I got almost 6 inches on him on reach. dividends for that.
Well, Max, best of luck and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll take our final questions from Zach with UFC.com.
You know, that was my first fight with my new mental coach, actually like having fun. And so for me, to be able to beat the guy all around, piece him up. I mean, it seemed slow when I was in there, like slow motion. But when I watched it that night, I was heavily impressed with my speed, my angles, commentary, you know, Don and Dominic Cruz talking about my footwork and how good I looked. And Trevor Whitman was, they were impressed. And those guys are some of the best martial artists ever on the planet. So to hear that from them was a, and then, you know, just to have my way with a guy that had so much hype in him with the story and all that stuff, it was good. You know, they kind of looked like he wanted him to win. You know, for me to go and spoil this party and get a big win. I mean, I would have finished him probably about 20 seconds after the ear thing. I mean, he was flushing down the drain. He was bloody and battered and couldn't breathe, flushing down. But to get that huge elbow and to be part of history, I mean, it was on World Star. It was on everything. It went viral, TMZ. Like, so now, you know, it could have got swept under the rug if I just would have TKO'd him, but to TKO and have arguably one of the nastiest finishes in UFC history, I'm happy to be part of it. Can't wait to go back out there and have more fun. Like, I was rewarded for fun. So now it's like, hey, what's going to happen when I even have more fun? You'll see Saturday night. So, last fight you had. How reassuring was it to put all these pieces out with the result? Yeah, the cardio thing, which when I went to the PI, I was off the charts on, like, not normal, and that's an attribute. That's something I can use. On my last fight, really the only, you know, corner I remember sitting in or standing in the corner. I didn't sit down. I would just, hey, pass me some water. I didn't talking like I'm talking now. Give me some water. More volume, Max. Just more volume. I mean, it was little stuff. It wasn't. It's usually like. It's all crazy. This was just like, okay, a little more volume. Like literally. Okay, you got more gas. We'll put it on him. So I did, and I felt so normal. Scary. It's been good. It's been good. I mean, Song has some weapons we got to watch out for. You know, right hand, obviously. That's really the main thing he does. He only does well when he backs you up. No one backs me up, especially him. I've fought. This is my 11th UFC fight. I've fought some scary UFC guys: Elias Santos, Mike Perry, Alves, Calvin Oliveira. I fought some scary dudes. No offense, but he's not scary. Put it on him, put the pressure on him, finish the guy. I've been using my tactics. So with my mental coach, that's the core values, and now we still do that, but now we're implementing grateful journal. Every day I write something I think. If you're having a bad day or anything, you just look back and man, you get filled with good feelings and good vibes when you think about all the good things in your life. This and this and this. It's not bad. We also do a thing in 3, like a kind of like an after war training after all my 3 things you did well and 3 things you need to work on. Snap. Oh, I did this, took him down. Or if I got caught on something, so I'd review that. Oh yeah, I didn't like how that happened. So it really hyper focuses you on accountable in your training every day. Okay, and then you write it down. You can go back and look and see what you got to work on, and then you can fix those things. Because if you don't pay attention to what's going on, if you just kind of blindly go through training, you don't have as much success as if you're working on things, and then you could get over certain things. And, you know, it's gonna happen on its own. My plan is to have fun. I've been having fun all week. Yeah, I was just on my Oculus Quest 2, just in the room, just on my VR, just having fun, man. It's good times, and also I'm very excited about this too. They actually wanted me to fight this guy on March 6th, sign your card, but I feel like my son was too soon. He was supposed to be born 15th. He ended up coming late, February 7th. So that wouldn't have worked. My lady was fighting March 6th. I was like, I have to work, baby. Like, hey, can I fight him before? They said no. How about March 20th? So rather than getting buried on the card on March 6th, now I'm on March 20th, more of an open card. I'm on the main card. I'm on ESPN. UFC's rarely on ESPN. I feel like it's once every few months. I don't know the schedule, but it seems like it's on ESPN a handful of times a year. And to be in everyone's living room at home, you don't have to have the ESPN Plus app. World will see, and the odds are coming crazy. I was minus 125. Now I'm minus 200. Crash this guy. And also, man, plus 550 for me to win by knockout. And that's crazy. So if anyone wants to make some money, double down on it.
All right. Thank you very much, Max. You're all set.
Thank you.
We will be joined next by UFC lightweight Brad Riddell. We are now joined by UFC lightweight Brad Riddell. Brad, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, how are you?
Very good, thanks. You'll get your first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey Brad, how are you?
Good man, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. So it's been obviously a busy month for City Kickboxing. Is there more or less anxiety being one of the last ones to go out there and fight after seeing a bunch of your friends already go first?
None. It's just exactly the same as it was before. Like, we all really enjoy competing and fighting. The fact that we get to all fight pretty close together and then relax after the fight together, I think that's pretty cool. We're lucky like that.
Last year, Adesanya and yourself did quite a lot of traveling. Obviously, a ton of quarantine that comes along with that. What are your cheat codes by now for all that time stuck in the hotel? What are those things that really get you through it when you've just been there a really long time already?
PlayStation, a lot of Call of Duty, a lot of reading, and a lot of self-reflection, man. Like, whether you win or whether you lose, there's a lot of time to think about how the fight went and stuff like that, or your trip and other stuff in life. So, yeah, quarantine's it's not great, but you can definitely make it beneficial if you try. You can make it really bad, or you can make it make it a little bit better.
What's your gamer tag and PlayStation or Xbox for people who want to, shoot people with you online?
Yeah, but for Call of Duty, it's Quake 155. Yeah, I'm okay. I wouldn't rate myself too high, but I'm okay.
Well, hopefully we get some people who can help you out. Talking about the fight, did you take much from Gregor's fight with Kevin Lee, or do you feel just you're a completely different fighter, so you'll approach it differently?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, he exposed him a little bit, but sure that hasn't affected Gregor too much, to be honest. Kevin caught him with two beautiful shots, just like Gregor said himself. It was quite early on in the fight, so yeah, I'm a complete different fighter to Kevin. So yeah, the same result would be great, but we'll have to see how it goes.
My final question, just what do you want to show most for yourself in your performance on Saturday?
That I can hang with a really, really high level wrestler. That I can hang with the All American wrestler, and from there on up, there will be a lot of worry for the other top 15.
Hey, thank you, Brad. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com. Your line is open.
Hey, Brad, coming into this fight, so much is being made about the contrast in styles you're striking against his wrestling. But do you think maybe we're making too much of that, considering, this is mixed martial arts? And because you do see some guys and some girls, get overly, taken over by, oh, he's going to try to wrestle me, or, oh, they're going to try to strike with me. And it kind of takes them out of their game. Do you just have to kind of put all that out of your head?
Yeah, man, 100%. Like, you can obviously his wrestling is great, but you cannot just focus on that. You have to focus on your own thing. Otherwise, the fight's going to go his way. So, yeah, I do agree with you on that. People do get caught up on that. I'm not one of them. Like, obviously, in my other fights, I've just fought my fight, and sometimes I've been taken down, and I got back up and carried on doing my thing. So, yeah, I'm just going to do my thing out there.
You can't get in Gregor's head, but we've seen it a million times. When you go through a really tough knockout like that, it can change you. It can really change you in your approach to fighting, mentally wise. Your first time, and this is going to be the first time he's going to get hit since then. Will you look for those kind of tendencies in that opening round if you tag him the first time and you kind of look in his eyes and see that? Because we have seen that a lot of times where some people are just never the same after a knockout like that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I'm definitely going to look for a bit of PTSD and see if it's still there. It could be, it couldn't be. Like I've said a few times this week, that knockouts like that are beneficial or detrimental, especially your first loss. It can bring you back better, or you can never come back at all. So I'll definitely be looking to see how he reacts to me when we jump in there and touch gloves and get going.
There's obviously no shame in losing to Kevin Lee, who is a incredible fighter in his own right. But going into that fight, so much attention was on Gregor as undefeated, kind of the next big thing. But do you feel like you do still get a pretty quality win here over a guy who still has a lot of hype behind him? Obviously, again, no shame in losing to Kevin Lee. But do you feel like this does move you forward in terms of where you want to be in this division?
Of course it does. Of course it does. Gregor's still an amazing fighter. He's still very decorated in what he's done. And you say there's like no shame in losing to Kevin Lee. I don't think there's any shame in losing in the UFC. We're a very small percentile of the population that get in there and fight. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of balls to step in there and fight someone. You're stripping yourself down naked in front of the world, and putting everything out there. So I don't think there's any shame in losing at all. I think you should be very proud that you step in there and go to war against somebody else. So, yeah. for the people that give people shit when they lose, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna say what I think of them.
Yeah, understandable. With that being said, you have engaged in some battles, in the UFC. You've been in those wars. Do you feel like that is an advantage for you in this fight? Obviously before the Kevin Lee fight, Gregor had been pretty dominant. He'd been kind of, I won't say running through guys, that's an insult to his opponents, but he's been pretty dominant in his performances. Do you kind of look to test him to see, if he can go in those deep waters? If you don't, let's say knock him out early, do you want to see if he can go in those deep waters with you?
I'm sure he can go to those deep waters with me. Judging by his other opponents, like he dragged them too deep for themselves. Like maybe they didn't prepare for him or they underestimated his wrestling. But I've never underestimated any opponent that I've fought. I've had so many fights now in my life that you just can't do that. I've done it a couple of times earlier in my career and lost some important fights. And from then on, I've just never done it. And I think, yeah, it's obviously beneficial for me that I've been the distance quite a few times with some really hard fighters that were gritty. So yeah, I think that works in my favor to fight someone like Gregor.
Last one for me. I remember talking to Dan Hooker before his fight earlier this year, and the kind of crazy quarantine he had to go through going home just because, the restrictions are a little tighter in New Zealand and Australia, and obviously what we're doing here in America. I'm curious, what do you have to go through when you finally get a chance to go home?
Yeah, Dan's was a bit savage. I really felt for him because of his family and stuff. And it's always a little bit harder to bear with the loss, but he bounced back really well. He was positive. And we talked to him during that time, and mine is not as bad as that. Mine's, I think, 5 weeks total, so I leave on the 3rd of April. Well, I leave America on the 1st of April, and I've got like a 40-odd hour flight home, a couple of transits. So mine's not too bad. I'm here for Volcom and stuff. That extended it a little bit, but I would have done that anyway.
Thanks, Brad.
We'll go back.
We'll go next to Pablo Santamaria with Noti MMA Ecuador. Your line is open.
Hi, Brad. Can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay, the first thing I want to ask you is, what are your thoughts of Gregor as an opponent?
Oh, he's a worthy opponent. He's it's a difficult fight. He's good. Yeah, everyone knows he wrestles, but he also doesn't mind to stand there and throw some punches. Like that's to my benefit, I think. But he's a gamer. It's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to fighting him. That's why I said I'll do it.
Okay, for sure. This is your 4th fight in the UFC, and every time you get on the octagon, you get better opponents. So if you get the victory over Gregor, do you have someone in your mind to call?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. I'm gonna deal with Gregor this weekend. I'm gonna focus on that fight, get tunnel vision on that, and then I do have plans after, but they're far, far, far in the back of my mind, and I'll bring them to fruition after that fight.
For sure. City Kickboxing is known for the elite takedown defense they have, and do you think that will be an important key to get the victory?
Of course. Like every time Gregor gets me down, that's time to his advantage. So I definitely don't want to get taken down. Could happen. It couldn't happen. Fight's a fight, and things tend to change in there at the last split second. So yeah, I'm pretty confident in my takedown defense, and I'm more confident in my ability to get up, and I'm most confident in my ability not to give up. So yeah.
Okay, and the last question for me is, what's your prediction for the fight?
Well, I'm gonna win. That's always my prediction for the fight. I'm gonna win. How I win, I'll have to wait until the end of it. But yeah, I'm gonna win.
Okay, thank you very much, Brad, for your time, and good luck on the fight.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Ryan McCarthy with Low Kick MMA. Your line is open.
Hey, Brad, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just a couple questions here. You're 3-0 in the UFC, 6 straight wins overall. What would be next for you if you when you get a dub over ranked opponent Gregor Gillespie here? Are you trying to go into the top 10 for an opponent? Is there a certain name that you're looking out for here in the lightweight division?
There's not a certain name yet. You've always got to wait for other fights to play out to see what the best pick is for me. But I fully believe I deserve someone close to the top 10 after you get going through Gregor. Top 10 or close to.
Yeah, for sure. And since you're in the lightweight division, do you have a prediction of what the next lightweight title fight will be? There's obviously a lot of a lot of names out there that are vying for that shot. So
Well, personally, I think Dustin and Charles Oliveira fighting for that belt. Those guys have earned their spot.
sure. And is there a certain cheat meal you get after a W over Gregor on Saturday?
Yeah, man. I like smoking meat. I like eating barbecue and stuff like that. I'm a big meat eater, so that's what I'll be hunting for over here. America's got pretty good barbecue. To see what Vegas has.
Nice, man. Well, we look forward to seeing you. Best of luck on Saturday.
We'll go next to Nikita with Sport Express. Your line is open.
Brett, big pleasure to talk to you.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Brett, Israel Adesanya once said that you are one of the toughest and bravest person he's ever met in his life. Do you remember your first meet with Israel and your first impression of him?
My first meet, my first impression of Israel.
Yes.
Jeez, I think the first time I met Izzy would have been coming on like 8 or 9 years ago. 8 years. He used to. We were at different gyms, and a couple of times a week, or sometimes Eugene would bring him and a couple of other guys up to spar at our gym in a different part of the city, because our gym was quite known for like quite hard sparring, and we probably sparred a little bit too hard back then. And Izzy would come up and spar us, and it was the same thing back then. Like, he was hard to hit, at distance, and then so I used to get in close and get him in the pocket. That's where I'd have the most success, and then I spent so much time doing that. He got good at doing that, and then obviously from there on, he got good at doing everything. That was my first times meeting him, and same thing then as now, man. It was hard to fight him, and he's always been a good dude. He's got heaps of energy. He's real fun. Yeah, I've always said good things for Israel.
Brett, now we see more and more knockouts against wrestlers in MMA with flying knees, with knees, and you're a Muay Thai kickboxing guy. How much do you love knee, and how you make stake on this type of strike against such short wrestler like Gregor?
Oh, it's a huge benefit. I mean, like, if no one's throwing their legs up or their knees up or something like that, it's very inviting to just go and shoot. But when someone sticks their knee up, it changes your mind pretty quick, because if your head meets the knee, everyone knows which one's gonna win. So it's a huge part of fighting a high-level wrestler.
Brett, thank you very much. Good luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.
We will take our final questions from Omer Mert with S Sport. Your line is open.
Hello, Brett. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Thank you, sir. Brett, there are a lot of important names coming out New Zealand. What did your country do right, and suddenly such MMA starts to appear? Can I get some advice for my country?
I think, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's we're just very stubborn. Like, we're a very small country, and we weren't very noticed before this. We had so many amazing fighters in our past that probably found it difficult, and unfortunately they didn't get to get onto the world stage just because of our location in the world. It was hard to get out, and it's not anything that we're doing lately. It's just the stuff that we've always done, and we're very lucky that Dan Hooker and Israel have like elevated our platform in the UFC, and now we have a lot of exposure. So, and Mark Hunt, as well, like, those guys got us noticed, and now it's easier for us to get into the UFC. So it's not what we're doing now, it's what we've always been doing, and we're just, we owe those guys a lot.
Okay, thank you. My other question, do you have a dream match in the UFC?
Sorry, what?
Do you have a dream match in the UFC? Any legend or current name?
Dream match. I think I would really like to experience like fighting Khabib. Obviously he's finished, but just watching that guy over his whole career, like, he was such a dominant force, and it didn't matter who he got in the cage with, you just saw him crush them and just fold them. And I think it would be a crazy experience to fight him and feel that strength and feel that that power, and then you can go away and really think about what you have to work on and appreciate how long he's been working on that skill set. So that would be cool. That would be just more for experience.
Okay, my last question, Brad. What do you think Adesanya's last performance? Did you ever chance to talk after the fight?
I haven't talked to him about the fight. We've just talked. I think I told him that he's doing quarantine in my home city, so I told him somebody wants to drop him off some barbecue, and my mom dropped him off heaps of muffins. So I think that's about as much as I've said to him. But I thought his performance was great. I think he's daring to do something that a lot of people haven't done and will probably never do, like going up to fight a man that big. Israel's a very tall middleweight, but he's not an enormous one. Like, he's not hugely heavy and stuff. So for him to go and fight a man that big and risk his record and dare to be great, it's awesome. Win or lose, I'm like insanely proud of that guy and what he did, and he's gonna come back and do just as many phenomenal things as he's done in the past. And yeah, don't sleep on Israel. There's some big things coming for that guy still.
Okay, Brad. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brad. You're all set.
Yo.
We will be joined shortly by UFC bantamweight Adrian Yanez. We're now joined by UFC bantamweight Adrian Yanez. Adrian, thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh man, I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm super excited.
We'll take our first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Adrian, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you're doing great. You just got to smile for the camera.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited, man. I'm just blessed to be here, man.
Talk to me. 2020 was quite a ride for a lot of people, but you had your fight on Contender. You had a successful UFC debut. How would you sum up 2020 overall for yourself personally?
And it was definitely a roller coaster. It was a lot of ups and downs. But at the end of it, at the end of it, for me, it was really great. I was able to, put all the years of the hard work of me finally of me working and putting in the work into MMA, finally had paid off for me in 2020, and just for it to happen in spectacular fashion, like in the Contenders, and then for my UFC debut, for it to happen like the way it did, man, I couldn't be any more happier. 2020 was a great year for me. Besides like the whole pandemic and everything going on, a lot of craziness that happened, but the end of 2020 was a really good one for me.
I listened to you speak yesterday about how you've now been able to leave your full-time job and focus completely on MMA. When you're in that kind of position, does it create pressure? Because it's like, you know what, I need this to be successful now because I don't want to go back to that kind of grind. I mean, just talk to me a little bit about that, because it is a big jump to say, hey, I'm going all in on a very tough business in mixed martial arts.
Oh yeah, man. My whole mentality has just been, man, just bet on yourself, man. I've kind of been big on that for these last couple of years, and that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been betting on myself and putting all the chips on my table and just being like, you know what, I believe in myself. I know I can do this, and I'm gonna go out there and keep proving it. And for me, like being able to quit my full-time job and be able to do MMA full-time has been the biggest blessing to me. So 2020 also helped me in that way, getting that knockout, like the first round knockout in my debut, and getting the bonus, like helped me like push even more to do what I truly love to do, and that's MMA. So to me, there's like absolutely no pressure because now this is a full-time job for me. I have like it, like I said it on the Contenders. It's like, man, I've been doing this as a part-time job. Let me do this as a full-time job. So, my performance on the Contenders is really good, and then look, you see my performance on my debut, and it was really good. Now I have a full-time training camp, and now I feel more confident than ever. I feel like I'm gonna walk in there, and man, I feel like I'm gonna do some stuff that I'm really excited to put on a show. Like that's my biggest thing, because man, like for the past, like after my debut, I was just doing MMA full time. My job, I quit my job like a week before fight week for October 31st. So like that was my last day working. So whenever I was able to do it full time, I was like, man, now I'm gonna reap the benefits of me paying, like betting on myself. So it's not really more pressure. It's just me just doing what I do. Like I've been doing these past couple of years of betting on myself. That's exactly what I'm keep on doing.
I know he did have some words yesterday about not being impressed with the names that you'd fought, but he did tell us earlier he ran by you, I think at the PI. You guys had a little fist bump. Is there beef, or is it just about the confidence you have in yourself?
Oh no, it's just the confidence to have in myself, man. And I expect for him to have the confidence within himself. You know, we did cross paths. You know, it's just like he got off the bus from the shuttle coming from the PI, and then I was gonna get on the shuttle going too. You know, it's like there's no animosity with me because at the end of the day, we both know we're gonna have to step in the cage and we're gonna go in there and fight. So for me, there's no ifs, ands, or buts whether we have beef or we don't. You know, we can give each other a fist bump, man. I like even before, man. Like I said it before in a press conference. I got all the respect in the world for that guy because, you know, he's a good fighter. I know what I have in front of me. He might be underestimating me a little bit, saying like all this hype and that, and you know, he might be underestimating me. He wants to end my hype train. I don't believe I have a hype train behind me. I just believe in my own skill set, you know, and that's one thing that keeps me pushing forward and knowing that I'm gonna go out there and perform. So for me, it's just more along the lines of like, man, I know what I have in front of me, and I respect it. Like if he has the beef or if it's up to him, you know, it's up to him, man. That's all on him. But you know, me, I'm cool, calm, and collected either way until we step in that cage, and we're gonna go in there and put on a performance.
Hey, thank you, Adrian, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll go next to Nikita with Sport Express. Your line is open. Nikita, your line is open. We will instead go to Zach with UFC.com.
Okay.
Like you said, 2020 was 2021. What do you think?
Man, I feel it's just going to be a representation of all the years and hard work that I put into this. 2020 was just a showcase. 2021 is just going to be me building. Uh, like man, I go back to this line that Benny the rapper Benny the Butcher said. You know, I go back to it every single time. He's like, last year was about branding. This one's about expanding. You know, that line stuck in my head. So literally, you know, 2020 was about me branding myself, me putting myself in the position I am today, and it to me, like it's exactly what I did. I branded myself. I'm a UFC fighter. I went out there. I performed. Now it's time to expand to expand, you know. And I'm putting all the chips in my basket. So, man, like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to perform, especially with you know, like with myself, like full training camp. You know, I've more confident than I've ever been, and I I feel really good heading into this performance.
Where did you feel?
Man, it was all both. It was both because like I knew whenever I had a full-time job, uh, I knew I wasn't getting enough training. I knew I wasn't having enough. So I always felt rushed. I always felt like stressed out. So it was like physically, I knew that I wasn't as ready as I should be, but I was ready for a fight, but I knew I wasn't as ready as I should be. And mentally, it was just stressful because like man, my job, like I'd get out like I'd get out like at 5 o'clock or 5:30. Training would start at 6. I'd have to rush to downtown Houston. Uh, Downtown Houston, which for me was a 45-minute drive. Depending on traffic, it'd be an hour drive. So I'd be like literally like tooth and nail, just barely getting there. And some days I'd be 15 minutes late. So man, for a lot of time it was real stressful. So it was both mental and physical. Uh, and then like you go out there, you're out working on like a hot day at work, man. You don't have enough energy to go train. So it's a lot that goes into it. So it's not just mental and physical, it's both mental and physical. So for me, it's like coming back from 2020 into 2021, man. It's like, man, like I got this like full training camp. I was able to get enough rest. I was able to get enough training. Yeah. I was able to work on little things here and there. I was able to advance on my techniques. Man, I got my black belt like in December. So I was like, so everything has been working out for me. Especially like it's been working wonders. So to me, man, like like I said, going back to before, like a betting on myself has been the biggest thing for me. Oh man, it's like it's for me. It's like living on a schedule, man. I have to have everything down on a schedule. Like now it's like instead of going to work, having a schedule doing that, and then going straight there, like everything is scheduled out. I can now schedule in rest periods. I can now schedule in like when I need to go like get something checked out. Like now I can schedule like, okay, well, I can run this day. I can run this day at this time. This day I can run this day at this time. So it's just a lot more scheduling, being more flexible in my training, and able to get a lot more rest, and then also too just being able to work on my mental like on those rest times, because a lot of people can get burnt out. You have a hard training session, you go back, you're a little bit mentally exhausted. So it's good to sit back and be able to rest and just be able to like recoup and go back for another training session. So it's been all blessings for me, man. It's been the biggest blessing for me. Oh man, the expanding is keep on performing, keep on performing. Put on spectacular performances every single time I go out there. Well, whether it's a KO, submission, or just the all round domination, or just like making it look flawless like Floyd Mayweather. So that's exactly what I would want to do is every single time I go out there, and then on top of that, the better the fight, the better the knockouts, and like if I go out there and I have a go out there and have a war with Gustavo, or I stop him early, you know, depending on how that goes, that can build my brand and expand me. Like everybody's gonna be like, I want to watch that guy fight because he goes out there and he puts it all on the line, which I love to do. I love going out there and going blow to blow with the guy, but at the same time, I know myself. I want to get that knockout, and I'm going to get that knockout.
Thank you very much, Adrian. You're all set.
Cool, thank you.
We are now joined by Montserrat Conejo. Montserrat, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll take our first question from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cateside Press. Your line is open.
Hello, Montserrat. How are you?
Hello, good, thanks.
Can you tell us the story about getting the call to fight Cheyanne and make your UFC debut on short notice?
Pues fue el día jueves cuando yo estaba llegando de correr, estaba desayunando. Maestro Víctor Dávila, que pues todos vivimos en una casa, somos roomies, él me dio la noticia, salió de la habitación, me dio la noticia y estábamos los dos sorprendidos de que pues no creíamos de la noticia y pues fue algo súper emocionante y estoy muy contenta de que UFC me haya dado la oportunidad.
Last Thursday, I just finished my run that day, and I came out of his room and gave me unbelievable. Excited about the experience.
My second question, I don't know if you watched the scrum yesterday, but Cheyanne said she'd been helping Emily Ducote for her camp and said she's very familiar with what you are going to bring to the fight. I would just want to know your thoughts on her comments that she feels like she knows everything you're going to do.
Sabe todo lo que vas a hacer.
Pues sé que es una peleadora que le gusta hablar mucho, entonces pues vamos a ver si me conoce como ella dice y el sábado va a ser un día de guerra y le voy a callar la boca.
I know that she's the kind of fighter that likes to talk smoke. Let's see if she really knows me. We're gonna find that out on Saturday because on Saturday there's gonna be a war.
What are your thoughts on Cheyenne's game and what she can do as an opponent?
¿Qué piensas de Cheyanne y qué va a hacer ella como oponente?
Pienso que es una peleadora que va hacia enfrente, es su cinta negra en taekwondo, pero así como ella tiene su cinta negra en taekwondo, yo tengo mi lucha. Y pues nada, solo pienso que es una oponente más en mi lucha.
I think she's the kind of fighter that likes to go forward. I know she's a black belt in Taekwondo, but just like she's a black belt in Taekwondo, I have my background on Olympic wrestling, and I know that that can be that's her background.
For a lot of fans, this is the first time they're going to see you. What do you want people to know about who are watching to know about you?
Te van a ver por primera vez. ¿Por qué se van a acordar de ti?
Porque soy una peleadora que siempre va hacia enfrente, me tendrán que matar para poderme ganar.
They're gonna remember of me because I'm the kind of fighter that likes to go forward, and in order to finish me, they have to kill me.
Are you going to have your bunny teeth mouthpiece for the fight?
Vas a tener tu caldo la colita para la pelea de conejo.
No, solo dice wanna play.
No, this one have this one that says wanna play.
Gotcha. Muchas gracias, Montserrat. Good luck.
Thank you.
Don't have the tail for the way in.
We'll go next to Alfredo Bush with Claro Sports. Your line is open.
Hola, Conejo, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien, gracias.
Qué bueno. Oye, tú vas a ser apenas la cuarta mujer mexicana que suba al octágono. Jessica Aguilar, Irene Aldana y también por ahí Alexa Grasso. ¿Cómo te sientes tú de esa parte de seguir haciendo historia dentro de este deporte que es tan joven para México?
Pues me siento muy feliz, muy honrada porque ya compañeras ya han abierto el camino hacia las del MMA. Vengo con un respaldo muy bueno de las MMA en México, entonces pues vengo a representar con todo.
Ese brinco que diste de calidad y demás, dejar de entrenar en México, ahorita en definitiva a Estados Unidos, ¿qué tanto lo has notado tú? Porque, bueno, evidentemente se ha visto en tu carrera. Tú esa parte de decidir abrir camino, irte para allá y dedicarte por completo a esto, ¿cómo lo has a nivel personal tomado?
Yo creo que me ha funcionado bastante bien. Esta persona, la calidad ha cambiado bastante a pues, ser más responsable en lo que me gusta, profesional en cuanto a tener una buena alimentación, en descanso, tener muchas distracciones. A veces eso también influye mucho en el grupo de gente con el que te rodeas. El momento de haberme mudado y estar bajo el modelo de Víctor Dávila me ha servido bastante. Me rodeo con personas que siempre les gusta crecer, les gusta avanzar. Entonces, yo creo que si te juntas con campeones, vas a ser campeón. Yo creo que vas a ser muy bien. Sirve mucho el estar rodeado con gente positiva y gente que le gusta ver que uno crezca.
Y la última de mi parte, ¿cómo ha sido la semana de pelea? ¿Ha sido lo que te imaginabas? ¿Te imaginabas algo diferente? ¿O cómo has vivido estos días y lo que todavía falta, obviamente, con el pesaje y la pelea?
Yo creo que cada pelea es un proceso diferente, pero llevo el mismo sentimiento de cada pelea, ¿no? Disfruto todo el proceso y creo que solamente ha sido distinto en cuanto al trato, ¿no? El trato hacia el peleador, todo, ¿no? cuanto a calidad de trato y eventos, yo creo que es lo mejor que me ha pasado.
Perfecto, pues mucha suerte, Montserrat, muchas gracias.
Gracias.
We'll go next to Garcia Hernandez with Milenio. Garcia, your line is open. We'll go next to Augusto Niez-Gay with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
Montserrat, ¿cómo estás? ¿Todo bien?
Hola, muy bien, gracias.
Bueno, saludos a vos y a Víctor, que calculo que está ahí al lado oficiando de traductor también. Ahí está, iba a pedir eso justamente, que acerquen un poquito más el micrófono. Montserrat, como primera pregunta, ayer contaste un poco lo que fue la reacción tanto tuya como la de tu entrenador, Víctor Dávila, al recibir la llamada, que él salió muy emocionado en calzoncillos a darte la noticia en la casa que comparten. Pero quería preguntarte, ¿en quién fue la primera persona en que pensaste o qué recuerdo vino a tu mente cuando te enteraste de eso? No digo, debe haber sido un momento muy, muy emotivo para vos, entonces, ¿en quiénes pensaste?
Pues yo creo que pensé en mi familia, en mis padres, en mi mamá y mi papá, y luego se me vino todo, así, todo mi recorrido que he hecho, y no sé, muchos sentimientos.
¿Y tus padres qué dijeron cuando les diste la noticia? Imagino que lo llamaste ahí inmediatamente.
No, me esperé porque pues todavía no sabía si lo podía hacer público, y como mi papá es de esas personas que a todo mundo le quiere decir, entonces me esperé. Entonces ya cuando ya sabía que sí iba a hacer todo, le llamé a él, a mi mamá, y no, pues súper emocionados, no se la creían, me decían, ¿de verdad? Yo sí. Y al final cuando colgamos, yo me puse a llorar, como que me dio mucho sentimiento, porque pues fue algo como muy emotivo, ¿no? Porque siempre han estado conmigo apoyándome.
Y bueno, de eso te quiero preguntar, ¿no? Imagino que para los padres no es algo fácil el hecho de ver a sus hijos pelear, subirse al octágono, pero calculo que ya deben estar acostumbrados, al menos después de la larga carrera que tenés, y que para esta oportunidad seguramente van a estar ahí del otro lado prendidos a la pelea.
Sí, claro, cuando inicié en lucha, a mi papá pues no le gustaba, no quería, me decía, no, eso es de hombres, te van a matar, y no quería, pero al fin de cuentas yo le dije, es algo que me gusta y pues debes de apoyarme en lo que me gusta. Y al final ya hasta me decía, ¿cuándo vas a pelear? Ya te quiero ver pelear. Y ahora hasta están ansiosos de que ya me quieren ver pelear, o sea, es algo que también les enamoró que yo haya decidido seguir en esto.
Y bueno, también estoy viendo en redes sociales que ya hiciste las primeras fotos oficiales de la compañía. Entonces te quiero preguntar, ¿cómo fue el momento en que te dieron la ropa oficial, en el que recibiste el pantalón, la campera y todo con tu nombre? ¿Fue como impactante el hecho de decir, bueno, tengo el pantalón que dice mi nombre y UFC al lado?
Sí, en cuanto vi que decía Conejo, dije, ¡ay, qué padre! Es que creen que es mi apellido, que mi apodo, pero es mi apellido. Y yo estaba esperando que sí dijera Conejo, porque es lo que me representa. Y vi la bandera y vi todos los colores y fue algo como que se me enchinó la piel y dije, es mi armadura con la que voy a salir a pelear.
Y bueno, en cuanto a la pelea, ¿no? Recién te lo preguntaban en inglés. Tu rival es compañera de Emily Ducot, que iba a ser justamente rival tuya el año pasado. Dijo que estuvieron entrenando juntas, que ya te conoce. ¿Es algo que te preocupa el hecho de que quizás ella haya tenido más tiempo viéndote o preparándose que vos que tomaste la pelea con unos días de anticipación?
Yo creo que eso no me afecta en nada, pues al contrario, como sé que es compañera de Emily Ducote, pues lo que no le va a tocar a Emily lo va a pagar Buys, entonces es algo que pues ella ya me tiene, ella piensa en mí, ¿no? Yo ya la tengo en la mente de que a lo mejor ella se está preocupando tanto en mí que dice que ya me conoce, pero realmente no me conoce. El día de la pelea va a ver que me va a conocer de verdad.
Y te consulto, vos venís lógicamente de una base de Jiu-Jitsu, pero sabemos por lo que hemos visto en redes sociales, porque te hemos visto entrenando, que has afilado mucho tu striking. ¿Tenés algún método, o sea, decís, me gustaría terminar la pelea con una sumisión, con un knockout, o te da igual ganarla y ya?
Pues claro que me encantaría terminarla con un knockout. En mi situación me gusta más terminar con sumisiones, pero si no funciona cualquiera de las armas, pues yo voy a ir siempre hacia el frente y matar o morir.
Perfecto. Y mi última pregunta, Montserrat. Por lo que se ve, te gustan mucho los tatuajes. Quería saber si tenés pensado tatuarte algo referido a esta fecha, o no sé, a tu debut en UFC. Digo, es algo, un día importante para vos. No sé si lo tenías pensado o no.
Pues no lo tenía pensado, pero posiblemente ahí me haga algo. Todo depende no sé, de qué me vuelva a la mente, ¿no? Por el momento no estoy pensando en tatuajes.
Perfecto. Gracias, Montserrat, y buena suerte el sábado.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, guys.
We'll go next to Pablo Santamaria with Noti MMA Ecuador. Your line is open.
Hola, Montserrat, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien, gracias.
Bueno, lo primero que quiero preguntarte es, ¿qué piensas sobre Cheyanne como oponente?
Pues pienso que es una peleadora que siempre va hacia enfrente. Al igual que yo voy a ir hacia enfrente, entonces pues solamente pienso que es una peleadora que le gusta hablar de más. Entonces lo que voy a hacer es callarle la boca y pues
Claro, y bueno, tienes victorias con knockout, victorias por sumisión, eres bastante completa, entonces ¿crees que eres mejor que ella en todas las áreas de las artes marciales mixtas?
Pues yo creo que yo siempre me siento mejor, ¿no? O sea, yo me siento en mi óptimo estado, no puedo decir que soy mejor que alguien o así, pero yo voy a demostrar el sábado de lo que he estado trabajando.
Claro, ¿y qué se siente tener a Master Vic como entrenador?
Pues es algo bien chingón porque pues lo puedo presumir siempre, ¿no? De que él es mi Master Vic y yo sé que hay mucha gente que le gustaría entrenar con él. Entonces yo tengo el privilegio de entrenar con él y con Jocelyn, estar juntos. Entonces yo creo que es algo muy, muy magnífico, ¿no? Tener alguien que tiene bastante experiencia en este ámbito. Entonces yo creo que es súper genial.
Claro, ¿y alguna diferencia que sientas entre la semana de pelea entre Invicta y ahorita con UFC?
Pues yo creo que la única diferencia es de que voy a debutar en la mejor empresa del mundo. La única diferencia. Yo creo que cada batalla o cada pelea tiene su preparación, todo tiene su costo, ¿no? Entonces yo creo que esto es un escalón más, es mi inicio y pues
Claro, y bueno, sabemos que vas a pelear en esta categoría que es bastante llamativa, tiene muy buenas peleadoras. Muy pronto va a haber una pelea por el campeonato entre Rose Namajunas contra Weili Zhang. ¿Quién crees que va a salir victoriosa en esa pelea?
pues yo creo que Wei Shan es muy bueno. Viene muy, muy bien, mentalmente y físicamente viene muy bien.
Claro, entonces muchas gracias por tu tiempo, Montserrat, y buena suerte en la pelea.
Gracias.
We'll take our final questions from Grecia Hernandez with Milenio. Your line is open.
Hola, ¿qué tal, Monse? ¿Cómo estás?
Hola, muy bien, gracias.
Qué bueno. Oye, pues una pregunta nada más, ya para finalizar. Has trabajado mucho para llegar hasta donde estás hoy. Cuéntame, ¿cómo ha sido este camino y cómo te sientes de tener por fin tu primera pelea en UFC este fin de semana?
Pues sí, ha sido un camino muy largo, muy duro, difícil. Desde que inicié en lucha, llevo 13 años en el deporte. Ha sido tantos sacrificios de no ver a mi familia. Hubo momentos en que fallecieron familiares y no pude asistir. Entonces son muchos sacrificios lo que uno tiene que pasar. Yo creo que cada peleador tiene su historia, cada quien pasa por algo. Pero mi historia es de que pues fue muy, muy duro, ¿no? Para llegar a este momento, pero nunca desistí. Siempre soñé y anhelé con llegar a este momento y gracias a Dios me encontré con personas maravillosas que me ayudaron a conseguir ese sueño y pues, le agradezco bastante a Víctor Dávila, a Tori que siempre está ahí apoyándome, mi carnalito, y pues mi equipo, mi team, es Planet 15mm, siempre pues me apoyan en cualquier pelea.
Muy bien, pues sí, me acuerdo pues de toda tu trayectoria y pues finalmente, ¿cómo te sientes ya de por fin tener esta oportunidad de subir al octágono?
Pues me siento muy contenta, muy feliz, es algo que he estado esperando bastante tiempo y yo creo que estoy ya emocionada de subirme a pelear y de demostrar de lo que todo el proceso que pasé para llegar ahora.
Perfecto, muchísimas gracias, Monse, y muchísimo éxito en tu pelea.
Gracias.
Thank you very much, Montserrat. You're all finished.
Thank you.
We will be joined next by UFC heavyweight Tai Tuivasa. We are now joined by UFC heavyweight Tai Tuivasa. Tai, thank you very much for joining us today.
How's it going?
Very good, thanks. Your first question will come from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey Ty, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. My first question, you said yesterday you wanted to share a drink with him for saving the fight. I was wondering, did you hear that he'd given up drinking until he made it to the UFC?
Oh, is that right?
Like he was trying to commit to the cause.
So that means he can drink or can't drink?
He can now. He's in the UFC taking your fight.
There you go.
From the short time you've had to watch him, what do you think about what he brings?
Haven't really watched him much.
When you have a situation like this, then, I mean, how much is it just, going in, I guess you could say, on instinct and just your own skills? Because there isn't a lot of time for tape and all that other stuff.
It's where I'm from. I don't think you really get time to see what the opponent has. So this is the fight business. Like I said, thank you to him for being a fighter and stepping up. You know what I mean? A lot of fighters these days don't want to do that. But man, this is the fight game. Everyone, we're gonna get in there and punch each other's heads in anyway. That's what it is.
Happy belated birthday on Saturday. Where's the after party going to be at, and where can I get my invite?
Definitely ain't here. That's for sure. We're out of here. Somewhere on the strip. I don't know. Where's the after party? It'll be on, but.
And my final question: were you training back out here at AKA for this fight, or were you back in Australia?
I was in Dubai, TK MMA. I originally thought that we were gonna fight in Fight Island, but I had it wrong.
And just how is the situation over there? Because as things are changing slowly, I think with everything, did it open up? Was there a little more freedom with training like before?
Yeah, I wasn't too sure about Australia and what was going to happen. Are they going to lock it down or restrictions and this and that? So I made the call to go to Dubai, and Dubai's pretty open. They're pretty free. You can do what you want. Pretty much, just got to wear a mask. I don't really like wearing a mask anyway, so.
Who does really, right? It's best of luck and thank you for the time.
Thank you, brother.
We'll go next to Zach with UFC.com.
I'm here to win. To get my money for my the way, like I said, it's pretty much same game plan. Doesn't matter who I fight. I come to win. Prepared myself. Let's rock.
It's gonna be.
Right now I want to go home, see my son. It's been a long time. I miss him so much. You know, he's 4 now, so missing out on a lot of things. But to be honest, I hope this COVID fucks off and we, I don't know, and the world opens up, or I don't know what's going on, man. But shit.
Feels like, you know, because you fought some of the best. But you're still young in the game. Where do you feel like
To be honest, I'm learning. I'm 28 now. Damn, that seems old now. But I'm 28. I never really did martial arts growing up. I didn't, you know what I mean? So I've been learning on the run, and I think that's the best way to learn. I feel like I've got many more years in me to fight. I'm still learning more about my diet, still learning more about jiu-jitsu, still learning more about discipline. I think I'm going to be like wine, you know what I mean? Get better with age.
So after your last fight, you're like looking out, trying to find. Have you already got your plan down? Or, you know?
Hope Uncle Dana's got some howler or something there or whatever it is, and throw that in some shoes, or I don't know. I miss the crowd. Bring the crowd back, man. Bring the crowd back. I need some dirty shoes.
All right, thank you very much, Ty. You're all set.
Done.
Yeah, already.
Mad.
Take a hell of a headshot today.
We will be joined shortly by UFC welterweight Song Kenan. We are now joined by UFC welterweight Song Kenan. As a reminder, if you wish to ask a question, please press the hand icon. Song, thank you for joining us today.
Hello，
Hello，
他说谢谢你今天参加这个媒体会。
We will take our first questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press.
现在是第一个记者对你进行访问。
Hello, Song. My first question, how has this fight week experience been with the travel and being quarantined in the hotel compared to your past fights?
他说这一场比赛就是你很远的旅行过来，然后在酒店进行隔离，这个经验跟你之前的比赛经验有什么区别吗？
这次跟之前的区别就是在于我们只能在酒店这个范围活动，不能到外面去吃东西了。然后称重过后只能是叫外卖过来吃，还有这边给提供的那种营养。
OK， Song is saying that this time what different is they can only have activities within the hotel area, and after his weigh-in, he can only get food from DoorDash, kind of like that. So it's very different.
Does he like it because it's a little quieter, there's not as much, or does he prefer having more of the freedom?
他说就是你会更喜欢这样子更安静一些，还是说你想要就是像以前更多的自由一点？
我比较喜欢像以前一样，像以前一样的话，我们能出去称过体重之后，能到外面去吃东西。
Okay. He'd prefer from previous, so they could go out and enjoy the food and stuff.
We know the UFC is looking to return to Asia this year. What would it mean to you to fight back home in a big event, especially because it would probably be one of the first events with a full crowd in attendance?
他说就是今年 UFC 计划想要回到亚洲去举办比赛，特别有可能还是会有观众的，所以对于你来说，有什么意义？就如果你能够回到主场去比赛的话。
我觉得到主场比赛的话，自己的这个精神状态应该会更好，因为现场会有很多。
Hello。
没听清吗？
对，可以重复一下吗？
我觉得就是如果在那个自己的主场比赛，而且有现场的话，我觉得自己会更兴奋，状态会更好，因为现场做的都是为你加油的同胞。
Okay. He will feel totally more excited if it's in China, and if it's crowded, they are all fans that support you.
My final question, how do you see yourself getting the victory against Max on Saturday?
最后一个问题就是你对你这个周末的取得的胜利有什么就是自己有什么想法吗？
对于周六的这场比赛，对手他也是一个很不错的选手，两个应该是很势均力敌的，应该是一场精彩的比赛。
Okay. He said his opponent is also a very good fighter, and he thinks it's a very good matchup and would be a very good performance this weekend.
Thank you, Song, and best of luck, and thank you to the translator.
Thank you. 谢谢。
We'll go next to Jim Varsalone with the Miami Herald. Your line is open.
下一个采访。
Thank you. This is your first fight in the United States, and if so, what is that like? Because most of your fights have been in China and outside the United States.
这一次是你第一次在美国打比赛你之前大部分的比赛都是在中国或者是美国以外的地方，对你来说这个经验是怎么样的？
因为之前我也有在美国训练过，所以这次来美国比赛，觉得就是适应的很快。
Okay. He's been training in the United States before, so for him to fight this time, it's kind of similar. He could quickly adapt to it.
What are your thoughts of a victory? Where does the victory get you to? What is next getting this victory?
你认为就是这场比赛你会怎么样取得胜利？那如果你胜利了的话，你的下一个目标是什么样的？
我认为这场比赛可能会出现终结，也很有可能会打满3回合。如果这场比赛我胜出的话，希望下一场能和更优秀的选手交手。
Okay. He think it maybe could be a submission, or maybe full 3 rounds. And if he get this victory, he wants to match up with more competitive fighters.
And you mentioned about doing some training in the United States. Did you train for this fight in the United States at any time? And if so, where?
就是你刚刚提到说你在美国有训练过，那么你为这场比赛准备有在美国训练还是怎么样？如果是的话，在哪里？
这场比赛我是一直留在上海的 PI 进行训练的，我
嗯
是赛前提前2个星期过来适应一下这边的时差跟。
嗯哼，但是没有在这边训练是吗？
对，这次没有在这边。
Okay. He's been preparing his fight this time mainly in Shanghai PI. And he came 2 weeks earlier for his fight just for the jet lag and to get used for the environment but not training.
All the best. Thank you.
好，祝你好运，谢谢。
谢谢。
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Song. That's all the time we have for you today. We will be joined shortly by number 15 ranked UFC lightweight Gregor Gillespie. We are now joined by number 15 ranked UFC lightweight Gregor Gillespie. Gregor, thank you very much for joining us today.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. First question will come from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cage Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Gregor, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Gregor, my first question, with everything that went on in 2020, being in Long Island, I mean, how did you handle the training situation throughout the year? Because between lockdowns and everything changing, I'm assuming it was quite an experience.
Yeah, Long Island was a tough place to be in, considering we're 20 miles or less away from the New York City area. So it was tough. But the first, I would say, I guess 4 or 5 months of, once lockdown started. So from like March to, I guess, July-ish, I was upstate New York with my family, my girlfriend, all my friends up there. I was kind of sitting up there waiting for things to open back up in Long Island because, if I'm not going to be able to work, if I'm not going to be able to train, I wasn't really going to stay in Long Island. So I went upstate for extended period of time and doing, solo workouts in my brother's basement for a while and got old quick.
You already bring such a dangerous weapon with your wrestling and your grappling. With all of this time between fights, what kind of growth did you want to make sure you made in your game in these months where we haven't seen you?
I don't think we needed to reinvent the wheel. There's a few things we needed to tighten up with the kickboxing. And, we've done a lot. We stayed on the same training regimen and we did a lot of, striking work, which we've always done. We didn't need to reinvent the wheel. It was unfortunate what happened last fight. But as I said yesterday in a few interviews, I didn't get caught. I didn't get unlucky. It was just, a perfectly executed combo by Kevin Lee, and that was the result. So, again, we didn't reinvent the wheel. We just kept training hard the way we were always training.
I had just one question about, obviously the way the last one went down. We've heard several fighters discuss after they've ended up on the highlight reel, you kind of just got to own it and just to be able to move past it. For yourself, what was that process to yeah, I've seen that clip everywhere. It's behind me now, though.
I have a really funny story about that clip, actually. So, I was going upstate where my facial doctor was because I did break my jaw as a result of that kick with Kevin Lee. And I was going up, for my, 6th or 7th facial doctor visit to get clearance to go back to full-time training with contact. And I was upstate, and it happened to be the UFC Brasilia fight where Kevin Lee was fighting Charles Oliveira. And I was at a ski resort, which actually that day the ski resort got shut down for the whole year. And it was kind of the start of the whole lockdown thing. But I was at the bar, hanging out with my buddies between time up and down the mountain, and the bartender knew that I was a fighter, and she was kind of saying, "Hey everyone, this is a UFC fighter, blah blah blah." And that was on a Sunday, and they were replaying the fight from the night before, which was Kevin Lee versus Oliveira, and of course that was Kevin Lee's last fight. So right as she's telling everyone that I'm a fighter, the highlight of Kevin Lee knocking me out comes on TV, and oh man, they could have picked a better one, But yeah, I mean that was obviously, unfortunately, I'm going to be a highlight reel for Kevin Lee forever. And listen, if you fight long enough, things like that happen. So I don't think it took too long to get over that. It's something that happened. It's part of my fighting experience, and we're going to do everything we can to not let that happen again.
Well, I certainly hope they were nice to you at that bar, Gregor.
They were.
Awesome. My final question, how do you get this victory on Saturday against Brad?
Same game plan as always. So watch my first 6 fights. That's what I'm looking to do.
Hey, thank you and best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com. Your line is open.
Hey, Gregor, I know as a wrestler, you guys go through losses, you guys go through, tough times. And I know, part of the mentality of wrestling is, embracing the grind and coming back out there and getting back on the horse, so to speak. With the pandemic and the injury, was it tough this last year and a half, not being able to compete? Because I imagine that probably eats away at you a little bit.
Yeah, so like you mentioned before, this is not the first time I've experienced a loss. I had double-digit losses in my high school career, and I had double-digit losses in my college career. So this is not the first time I've had to come back from a loss.
unfortunately, the difference, and people probably, you know, people that are really involved in the sport do understand this, but for anyone that doesn't, the difference between losing in wrestling and then losing in fighting is the fact, and this could be a double-edged sword. You know, it's a blessing and a curse, but after you lose in wrestling, typically you're going to wrestle that same day or the following day, and you can kind of redeem yourself and feel okay or more okay about the loss relatively quickly. You know, if you lose in wrestling and then the next day or the next round you beat a good guy, you kind of are, it's a little damper on the loss from the previous round. In fighting, you're waiting months, years in this case, well, a year or so in this case, before you can even attempt to redeem yourself. So yeah, that's the tougher part about fighting is, you know, you're only as good as your last performance, and you kind of got to wait a while before you can redeem yourself in most instances in fighting.
Not to, you know, keep harping on the wrestling, but, you know, having talked to guys like Kyle Snyder, like after he lost the match, you know, it fired him up pretty hard. He wanted to come back out there and compete that much more. Because you come from wrestling, I imagine it's kind of the same thing, but kind of give me that mentality coming back from the loss and going into this fight. Like, do you get fired up? Do you have to kind of put that out of your mind a little bit? Like, how do you approach it?
Yeah, I mean, my college coach, Tim Flynn, told me this a long time ago. Whether you win or whether you lose, you have to have amnesia. And I remember those were his exact words. So if you come off of a really good win, you can't just sit there and celebrate and pat yourself on the back, because the next round you got another killer who's trying to take you out. And if you lose, and then you have to go back to the wrestlebacks and try to beat another good guy who's trying to get on the podium, you can't dwell on the loss that you just had either. So you have to have, you know, amnesia about your last round or last fight.
That almost a perfect segue into the next question, because you do see it. You know, some guys, some girls, when they experience a knockout, you know, they come back trigger shy. They come back, you know, gun shy to go out there and engage. And obviously, Brad Riddell is a striker. I don't think it's any giant secret what he's going to try to do in this fight. But you seem like a pretty mentally strong guy. Obviously, you've addressed the loss, you've addressed what happened. In terms of that, like in terms of this matchup, like, is this almost the perfect fight for you to go out there against a guy who you kind of know is going to try to knock you out?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fight. I think most guys at this point in my career, especially the ones that I've fought already, you know, they're going to try to stop my takedowns and try to hit me on our feet or kick me on our feet. It's no different than the last 7 fights I've had in the UFC. You know, no one really wants to do the grappling exchange with me. That's always been the case from, you know, the local promotions up through my fights in the UFC. So it's no different. You know, got to get to where I'm good, and that's not a secret either. So.
And last one for me, because you did have to go through so much to come back with, as you mentioned, the jaw injury and then the time off with the pandemic. I know it's tough to answer with the fight literally 2 days away, but if everything goes well on Saturday night, how busy would you like to be? Can I imagine you want to, you know, kind of get a busier schedule for the rest of this year?
Sure, but let's talk about that one after this weekend. I just focus on the next one. That's how I've always been. I don't want to start making predictions of what's going to happen after. I really, I got to focus on the fight in, you know, 2 days or so.
Thanks, Gregor.
You got it.
We'll go next to Pablo Santamaria with Noti MMA Ecuador. Your line is open.
Hi, Gregor. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, the first thing I want to ask you is, it's been a long time since we saw you in action. So what did you learn from that fight from Kevin Lee?
I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? So, of course, everyone and their brother was telling me after that I should have wrestled sooner. I should have pushed the wrestling action. And it's very easy for everyone, including myself, to say, yeah, I should have wrestled sooner. But what if I had knocked him out? Because the striking, from how I felt about it, I was winning the exchanges. It was close, but I felt like I was winning the exchanges on our feet. So what if I'd knocked him out? Then everyone would have been praising my striking and saying, we're glad you didn't wrestle, you know? So it's hindsight's 2020. But what if I had pushed the wrestling too soon, where a shot wasn't there, dove in on a shot and got an uppercutted or kneed or whatever and got knocked out? Then everyone would have been telling me, you know, why were you forcing the wrestling? Your striking was going so well, you know? So it's very, very easy to look back and say, well, I should have done this, I shouldn't have done that, after you know the outcome. So, you know, what I've learned, I guess get to where you're good sooner if the opportunity is there. But, you know, there's no need to force anything.
For sure. And what are your thoughts of Brad Riddell as an opponent?
Yeah, I've always been the kind of guy who stays away from talking about my opponents. He's obviously a good fighter. You know, I know he's good. I know he's going to have a lot of effort. I know he's going to try really hard. He's not the kind of guy who's going to roll over. So, you know, same game plan I've always had. You know, I'm going to push the action. I'm going to make it a high volume fight. So.
Okay, so you're fighting in one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC, if not the most stacked. So, what are you feeling of fighting at lightweight division? And if you get the victory, you would like to call someone out?
No, I'd like to go fishing after I finish my fight, and I'd like to do a little mountain climbing after too. I've been, I would say, the one thing that I did pick up as a hobby in the last however long I've been off was my girlfriend got me into climbing mountains. So there's another obsession that I got to juggle as well as my fishing. So I'm going to be busy the week after climbing mountains and fishing.
Okay, I think for me, it's a lot is talking social media. How do you handle the loss? Will you have an advice for all the defeated fighters that are putting excuses, like for example, Sean O'Malley, he's undefeated, or Paulo Costa, he drank too much wine, but you talk it like a champion.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for anyone but myself, but I didn't lose that fight against Kevin Lee because I had an off night, or I kept my hands too low, or he caught me, or he got lucky. No, none of that's true. So to say that stuff would just be, like you said, making excuses. But I can't speak for anyone but myself. But one thing I can say is that when I see people who, after a loss, can't even like fathom the thought of giving credit to the other guy, that really irks me. Um, these guys are good. You didn't have an off night, man. The other guy beat you. He was the better man that night. So, and the inability to express that or accept that rubs me the wrong way. So maybe I go a little too far the other way, but like, these guys are really good, and he executed a perfect game plan. So if I can't address that and say that was something that he did well, then I mean, how are you going to ever personally grow?
For sure. Okay, it's awesome to have you back in the octagon. Good luck on the fight, and thanks for your time, Gregor.
I appreciate it.
And we'll take our final questions from Nikita with Sport Express. Your line is open.
Hey, Gregor, big pleasure to talk to you, my man.
How you doing?
In 2009, you beat Michael Chandler in NCAA. I wonder, what memories do you have about this wrestling match, about Michael, and what catches your mind,
Oh my God, that was a lifetime ago. Yeah, I wrestled Michael Chandler in the 2009 NCAA Division I tournament, and I believe it was the consolation semi-round, and I don't remember the exact score, but I think it was something like 12-2. But that score was, I don't want to say misleading, but I do remember thinking like, holy cow, man, most people when they're losing by 8 or 9 points, they stop trying so hard. He had he was just kept coming and kept pushing the pace. And, I was definitely the better guy at that point, and I, weathered that storm, and I put my points up on the board. But I remember thinking like, holy shit, dude, this guy just doesn't stop. But, that was a long time ago. I think we've both made improvements in our fighting and our grappling, or whatever you want to say, since then.
Gregor, since that time, were you surprised later that Michael Chandler went too far in MMA, that he achieved so much success in this sport?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, he was a Division I All-American in college wrestling. It's like, if you learn how to use your hands into your takedowns, and he's actually predominantly a striker at this point. He gets, I think, more knockouts, finishes on his feet than he does any time on the ground. That part, I guess, would kind of surprise me, but I mean, I'm not surprised that he's winning. When people are combat athletes and they win, they usually continue to win. That's one thing about the best guys, and I've always said that I put myself in this category as well. Winners, no matter what, continue to win. And for example, like Ben Askren is not a boxer, but I'm certain Ben Askren's going to figure out a way to win in his fight against Jake Paul, or I think it's Jake Paul, yeah. But like winners usually win, no matter what avenue they're heading down. So I'm not surprised Michael Chandler is winning either. No.
Gregor, I have several questions about the Kevin Lee fight. At that first round, before knockout, there was moment when he threw head kick and he missed, but it was very close. In that moment, maybe you had feeling that, man, I should be more accurate with his kicks. How do you remember that?
I mean, I do remember, I believe it was a right kick that he missed. Obviously we had trained blocking kicks. Everyone when they're training for a fight, no matter who it's against, they train to block kicks and fire back, right? Counter punch, counter kick. But the one thing I guess that was a little more surprising is from what I understood before that fight, he usually went southpaw before he threw that kick. This time he did it right off of a right hand. But I mean, again, props to Kevin Lee. Perfectly executed, perfectly timed. I mean, nothing lucky about that. It was as good as it gets.
Though this fight didn't play out good for you, but I admired a little bit your jab, because your jab in this fight worked very well. You have cut. Yes, he has cut under his eye. Can you a little bit tell about your jab, because you're a fast guy and you have very strong jab? How it's this important weapon for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've always had a good jab. I should have kind of segued that and parlayed that into some follow-up punches. If I had to say the one thing that I wish I had done differently as far as my striking was concerned in that fight, one punch at a time doesn't usually get it done. So that's something we've worked on. Yeah, but my jab, yeah, I don't think it's a secret. I have a pretty decent jab.
Gregor, you, in terms of height, you're a little bit small for this division, even for 145 division. How you can deal with knees? Because we saw in Frank Edgar, Corey Sanhagen fight this terrifying knee. How can you deal with that knee threats?
Well, I really don't even know how to answer that. I mean, I'm as tall as I am, right? I don't have like a horrible time getting down to 155, but I am, cutting some weight to get there. I will say this for everyone that, gives me shit about why don't you go down to 145. I mean, that'd be a pretty tough cut for me. I'm not sure that I would, be interested in doing that at this point. And usually when people decide to go down, it's because they're losing, and maybe it's because of the size. The reason I lost my last fight wasn't because I was the smaller man. I got kicked in the head. It was a perfectly executed shin across my face. That had nothing to do with me being small for the weight class. And I don't know exactly what the other guys weigh on fight night, but I can't imagine that they weigh much more than I do on fight night. So I don't think that I'm undersized for the weight class, and I'm certainly not the reason that I lost my last fight. So I always try to steer clear of the whole topic of why aren't I down a weight class. So, I mean, I ended my college career at 157. I'm, now 2 pounds lighter than that, in a weight class 2 pounds lighter than that. And, this is where I'm staying.
Gregor, you have 23 takedowns in UFC already. It's very cool. Can you recollect the most memorable takedown in UFC? Maybe the most beautiful, you're most proud of?
Oh, man. I had several good takedowns against Gonzalez. I think it was my third fight in the UFC. Yes. Yeah, it was at Pittsburgh. I had several good takedowns during that fight that I thought I ran my feet well. I didn't hesitate on the finish. I had clean entries off of punches. I thought those were probably some of my best takedowns right into finishing. I'd say I think probably 7 or 8 takedowns that fight, if I had to guess.
Gregor, my last question is about fishing. Have you ever felt bad after you caught fish and you unhooked it and returned to water? Has there ever been such moment?
Have I felt what?
You felt bad that you caught fish and you returned her to water, release, Has there ever been such moment?
Are you saying that I feel bad?
Yes, maybe a little bad that you caught.
No, I mean, I never keep the fish that I catch, unless someone specifically asks me, hey, if you're going salmon fishing today, could you bring me back one? And otherwise, I never bring fish home with me. I catch, release, and they're 99% of the time they're released alive. So that's something that, I'm pretty proud of. I don't, kill the fish or leave them on the beach or whatever, We're very responsible with our fishing.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Gregor, thank you very much. Best luck on the top.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gregor. You're all set.
Cool. Thank you.
You don't want to say that.
We are now joined by number 9 ranked UFC women's bantamweight Marion Reneau. Marion, thank you very much for joining us today.
Having me.
First questions will come from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cageside Press. Your line is open.
Hello, Marion. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
My first question, can you walk us through getting that call that you had tested positive and just that immediate aftermath that pushed back the fight?
It was about 7:30 that morning. They had called me and I'm like, wait a minute. Nobody calls me from the UFC at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm like, this is probably not good news. And I answered the phone, and unfortunately I had tested for COVID and my heart literally just dropped. I was completely devastated because I had felt fine. I was just at a point where I was just like, God. So when I spoke with my manager, because I ended up giving him a call, he's like, let's have a plan. Let's let them know, hey, we want to fight here. We don't want to wait 2 months later. We want to fight about this date since you feel fine. So we were able to let them know, let the matchmakers know when we wanted to fight, and set up something for us. So it was bad, and then it was good. So here we are.
Did you deal with any symptoms afterward, or were you more asymptomatic?
I felt a little groggy the next day, and I wouldn't stay in the house. I was like, nope, I'm gonna go out for a run. So I took my dogs, we went out for a run, and I think besides feeling groggy that day, I had no taste and smell, which was that was terrible. Not being able to taste or smell anything, and then when you did eat stuff, tasted sour like an orange. It just tasted like it was rotten. So I think that was one of the main symptoms that I got.
When you have a situation like this, so same opponent, you did the whole camp, but now the fight gets moved back, what kind of things do you go back to work on in the gym? Because technically speaking, all the work was already done before the first fight day, right? So what was it to go back to train?
We just stay on course. We were set to peak at that time. So we come down slowly, and then we try to re-engineer our camp to peak again. And so that's basically what we stayed on. We stayed on our timing. We stayed on our game plan and what we wanted to work on. Just for the most part, just staying sharp.
I know you also work obviously as a teacher with more schools reopening. What's your situation? Are you seeing your students again soon, or where is it at the school you teach at?
So before I flew out, we had an emergency meeting with a lot of the teachers and the administration, and they let us know that April 6th, for the school that I work for, that they were going to open it up. So all next week when I get back, it's going to be all about planning and getting the kids back, but it's not to a regular schedule. I have about 40 kids in each one of my classes, and I'll only get to see 14 of them at a time. The others will still remain on distance learning. So it's still kind of a weird situation. It's not ideal, but at least it's something to normalcy.
Well, congratulations. Certainly, I'm sure it's going to be very nice to see everyone and just have that interaction again. Marion, I would be remiss if I don't ask this. It has not gone your way the last few fights. Quite simply, is this a back against the wall, do or die situation for your time in the UFC?
I've been told just to, keep moving forward. As a heptathlete or a collegiate heptathlete, you had 7 events and in 2 days to do those 7 events. And if you had a bad event, that was something that you couldn't focus on because you had to gear up and get ready for the next event. So as I move forward, not thinking, I see that they're back there. I see that those fights, they were good fights, and they did not go my way. But that's not something that I'm going to harp on. And hey, this one's all my do or die. I'm going into this fight with the same mentality. I have to get in there. I have to win. That's my job. So I'm not focused too much on the previous fights. I got to let those go. I can't dwell on it. I got to let that past go and just keep moving forward.
Thank you, Marion, and best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Zach with UFC.com.
Okay.
So obviously you have a what do we think for
Well, she was the fighter champion, obviously at 145. Long, she's tall, she's lanky. She likes the clinch, and so that's kind of what we've seen from her. Say that again. I can barely hear you. I'd say, during peak moments when either I'm moving forward on them or my back is up against the wall, I feel that things that we've done to drill in the past, I mean, they just kind of are put together in the spur of the moment. I'm always underrated and overlooked. I honestly, until you said it, I wouldn't have known who was a favorite or not. It's not something that I look up. It's not something that I concern myself with, just because I've always been the underdog.
We'll go next to Jim Varsalone with the Miami Herald. Your line is open.
Thank you. I'm curious, as a teacher, what has it been like as a fighter and as a teacher? And are you like the cool teacher because you are a fighter with the students?
I like to think I'm the cool teacher. I think they don't know what to think of me just because I'm very animated, I'm very loud, I'm very in your face, let's go movement. So sometimes when they look at me, they're like, God, you're drinking too much coffee, Miss Reneau. I think you need to slow down on the coffee. And I'm like, that's just naturally me. So I like to think I'm the cool teacher.
What has it been like for you being a part of UFC and continuing this journey?
I cannot complain. I feel that being a part of this journey has set me up for where both myself and my husband are now in our lives, where we were able to open up our own gym and give back to our community, not only to the adults but the kids in our community, especially during this time. So I feel that this journey has just opened so many doors. My dots are starting to connect where they need to be, and if you would have asked me 15 years ago if I foreseen this in my future, I was in a bad spot. I would have said no. This has leveled me out. This movement, this whatever God had planned for me, it's worked.
And for this particular fight, who will be in your corner? Did you have anyone different with your training team brought in for this fight, or business as usual?
Pretty much business as usual. We made a couple of adjustments with one of the corners, felt a little bit more comfortable. So I'll be joined by Michael Craddock, Jim West, and then also my husband, Armando Perez.
All the best, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marion. You're all set.
Awesome.
We will be joined shortly by number 7 ranked UFC middleweight Derek Brunson. We are now joined by number 7 ranked UFC middleweight Derek Brunson. Derek, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
First question will come from Ezekiel Bergonzi with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
Hello, Derek. How are you?
What's up? I'm good.
My first question is, how do you feel going to this fight? Do you feel like you are being underestimated by the five-fight win streak record of Kevin Holland?
It doesn't really matter to me. I haven't really been focused on all that stuff. My focus for this camp has been preparation and worrying about myself. I'm ranked number 7. He ranked number 10. He's trying to take my spot, so it's just business to me.
And how do you prepare for this fight?
The same as always, just worried about bettering myself. I was down at Sanford MMA for 4 weeks training with those guys down there, getting ready for the fight. We had a great camp, and here we are.
You have a 3-win streak, so how do you think that beating Kevin Holland will put you on the rankings?
Just me doing holding my spot. These young, hungry guys, they coming for my spot. They're coming to take where I'm at. So I got to hold my spot. And with an impressive victory, I believe I can leap a lot of guys in the rankings and really put myself in the thick of things with a title.
Talking about the title, Israel Adesanya fought Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight championship and he lost. So, how do you think that will affect the middleweight division? Do you think that Israel Adesanya defeat was better for the 185 division or not?
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. My focus is only at division at 185. So whatever it takes for me to work myself closer to a title, that's what I'm focused on. He went up there, tried to get to 205. He didn't succeed. Now he's back at 85, and that looked like where he's going to stay. So that's where the fights will line up.
My last question is, Kevin Holland said a couple of minutes ago that he sent you a lot of DMs. What do you think about that? Do you think that that is a strategy to get into your head, or do you think that he's just like that and it doesn't matter for you?
He tried to get in my head. Kevin Holland's just a class clown, So I let him do his thing. He's a class clown. He tried to be funny, but it doesn't matter. You can talk, you can not talk, you can be silent, you can be outspoken, but the way I'm coming to knock people out, I'm coming to get finishes. So that's not going to change one way or the other. I'm coming to get wins. So I'm focused on the task at hand, and that's that.
Thank you very much, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Gabriel Gonzalez with Cape Side Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Derek, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. Derek, so you've got this nice win streak together, and I heard you address this a little bit about how the fans can be up and down depending on a fighter's last performance. When you had that rough patch, 2 and 4, how did you filter out that noise to just focus on working on yourself? Because I know it can't always be easy, especially when you're in a public job like fighting on TV.
Well, a couple of those losses was just kind of not being properly prepared, and also I got a little unlucky with the judges. So, you just got to stay focused on the task at hand, and that's what I tend to do. You're only as good as your last fight, as the fans will see it in MMA, and combat sports. So I always focus on that next fight and really focusing on that one and taking care of that one.
With that, you've obviously got so many weapons. You're wrestling, you're very durable, you're very dangerous with your power. So when you change teams and everything, how much is it an X's and O's standpoint in terms of learning just your craft, and how much of it is mental in terms of turning the corner like this?
It's a little bit of everything, It's about, just properly executing, game planning. More so, it's just being pushed, having the bodies, the people training full time who at the highest level to push you. I think I heard an interview this week. GSP was saying, once you become really famous, make a lot of millions, it's easy to lose your edge. And the only way to get your edge back is to get challenged. And you have to step away from your team and get challenged by guys who are not, trying to baby you or take care of you. As guys that's coming to get you, that's going to push you in training and stuff like that. And that's at that level to ultimately bring out the best in you.
Was there a moment where it just kind of clicked? Like, you talked about it, being more patient in there and executing the way you need to. Was there a moment where you realized, like, you know what? It's coming to me now. It's just feeling more natural to do that now.
No, it was just some more looking at myself in the mirror, like, all right, stop being stupid. Stop being out there rushing everything. Take your time, slow it down, articulate. Don't be out here being in a rush. You got X amount of time. You could knock somebody out in the same amount of time by setting it up, opposed to just trying to rush them. So this is just about growing in the sport and really embracing being a martial artist.
In the next few weeks, it's obviously a very big month for the middleweight division. Have you thought about, who and when, you'd want your next fight to be, or are you just pushing that aside for now?
I've seen it'd be kind of like a bad thing to kind of lock in on any one person because things have been changing. Costa was supposed to fight Whitaker. That fell through, and Gaston stepped in. So things are constantly changing. So the best thing to do in this division is kind of focus on the fight at hand, and then after that, see what's up.
Hey, thank you, Derek, and best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Jim Barcelone with the Miami Herald. Your line is open.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sanford MMA, Henry Hooft and everybody there here in South Florida, just incredible. And I wonder if that correlates. You've won your last 3 fights. And was that before that first of those 3, when you started with Sanford MMA? How much of a connection has it been with your growth with Sanford MMA in your last few fights? I hope I have the timeline right.
Well, yeah, so I started, my win streak is indicative of the time that I've been at Sanford. So the first fight, I was at Sanford, second and third. So we're on a 3-fight winning streak ever since I started training down there. So it's just good bodies down there, good coaches down there. Everybody's pushing, and yeah, it's good vibes. So every day, you're in the gym making gains or understanding where you're at and things you need to improve on.
And if I can, how did that connection start for you to get to Sanford and just getting with them and being able to be there? How did that work for you to get there?
Well, I knew a lot of the guys. I've been in this game for a while. I saw Henry Hooft at a lot of events, and he would always, speak to me, say what's up. Even, when I was with another team, he would just say hi, say good job, or, he's just a really friendly guy, and I seen how all his guys had clean striking, and it was close to home. So, I was like, that's an opportunity I got to jump on. Really want to go down and train with those guys. I went down for a week to try it out, and then I was hooked, definitely. And then I came back for camp, and I've been there since,
What has it been like too working with the other fighters and everyone there? Because you mentioned, I know South Florida just overall, not just Sanford, but there's a lot of good fighters and coaching down here. What has it been like for you to be involved in that and just see your game elevate like that and then gaining that confidence?
Yeah, this game is always changing, and the guys that I came in the sport with, a lot of guys are not fighting still, so all these young guys that a lot of people don't know a lot about who are going to be stars, within a year or two, it's good to have these young guys pushing you every day. It just gets you ready for these big fights.
And were you there when it was Hard Knocks 365 and then made the transfer over to Sanford MMA? So my question on that part is, what do you think of the new facility?
Yeah, I was there at Hard Knocks 365. It was a sweat place. I used to love cutting weight there or getting ready for fights because my weight was real low. But the new place, Sanford MMA, is phenomenal. It's like state of the art. They got doctors, they got a recovery room, sauna, nice everything. It's just like they have everything that a fighter would need to recover, to get healthy. Like one guy blew his knee out, and they have doctors. He went in, got a surgery through Sanford MMA, and it was done. So they have their own doctors and everything. So it's a state-of-the-art facility, and I believe that that's going to be the new wave of MMA. These big gyms that have everything.
Yeah, one-stop shop. That is so true. And for you, I was looking at my last question is I was looking at your background prior to MMA, and you were a competitive cheerleader as well as an accomplished amateur wrestler. And I'm just your thoughts on competitive cheerleading as a sport.
Man, I wish I was still in it. Man, competitive cheerleading, I'll tell everybody, that was when I was like 17, 18, man. We got to hang out with girls all the time. So we were like little rock stars. It was fun. But I came into wrestling with a really strong core. That's, kind of what it helps with the sport of cheerleading, tossing girls up and doing a lot of flips and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's definitely a fun time in my life.
Well, I know I said last question, just real quick. I'm curious then, we could have saw you on Saturday afternoons on the sidelines of the big football games then, right?
No, we did more of the stuff that was on ESPN, like the competitive, like UCA. I think competitive cheerleading is pretty big in Florida. They have a team called Top Gun. They were popular about 2002 back then. They were out of Miami, so.
And you're right, because in Orlando, they always would have the national championships for the competitive cheerleading every year over by Disney. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Listen, all the best. Thank you so much. Keep doing your thing with Sanford MMA as well.
Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Ryan McCarthy with Low Kick MMA. Your line is open.
Hey, Derek, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I hear you.
Good. How's it going, man? Just a couple questions here. I mean, you're in a pretty chaotic middleweight division here. So, is there a certain name that comes to mind if you were to win on Saturday or anything like that?
No, I'm just focusing. Things are changing so much in this weight class. Like this is the best weight class in the UFC, the most exciting, a lot of stars. So yeah, things are changing. So it's better to just focus on the one fight, and then right after that, you can get to the next fight. So just focus on this fight first.
For sure. And how do you see Saturday's fight with Kevin going? Do you expect to finish? Do you expect the full 5 rounds? What are you thinking?
I expect to finish. I'm gonna take my time, set things up. If he want to come early, I got something for that too. So yeah, I'm just gonna take my time and look to get the finish and get the win, however we get it.
For sure. And any specific cheat meal you get after a W on Saturday?
I don't know, some cookies, some insomnia cookies. That'd be great.
Love it. Well, best of luck, man. Appreciate it, and best of luck on Saturday, man.
Thank you.
And we'll take our final questions from Pablo Santamaria with Noti MMA Ecuador. Your line is open.
Hi, Derek. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, the first thing I want to ask you is, you're fighting in the small octagon. Do you think that will give you an extra advantage because you are a wrestler?
I don't know. I mean, octagon is octagon. Fighting anywhere, sorry, I got hiccups. But you have to get in. You have to work your way in. You have to be smart, be patient. Set things up. So big octagon, small octagon. I'm just gonna do my thing regardless. I'm not really. I mean, I know I came in as a wrestler, but I'm looking to just go out and get the job done with the hands are with the wrestling.
For sure. This is your second fight on the pandemic. So do you expect to be more active in this year?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to stay active, get as many fights as I can, and really keep working my way down towards the title shot.
Okay, and what are your thoughts of Kevin Holland as an opponent?
I think Kevin Holland is a guy who likes to talk. He's rangy, he's long, he comes to get it. He's aggressive, and he's breakable. So we're gonna get him to that breaking point and get the job done.
For a long time, you are the gatekeeper in this division. You're fighting the young and up-and-comers fighters. So are you okay with that, fighting and proving that they are just hype train?
Well, I mean, I don't know. If I'm in this position where I was asking for the number 2 guy for this fight, and the guy didn't want to fight. He kind of didn't. He turned down the fight. So it wasn't really anybody else available. So Kevin Holland was the fight that was offered. So we took it. In this fight game, you got to fight. It's either wait or fight, and it's a thing of being active or not active. So we took the fight just so we stay active, and it's a fight that we can get up for, we can get excited about. It's a lot of hype on the fight, and that's where we're at. I don't really play into the gatekeeper or anything like that. I don't even know what that really means, but I guess that's a nice way of saying you stay relevant all these years. So
for sure. This division is very stacked. You can fight a lot of good fighters. There is a lot of fighters with a lot of hype, a lot of fans. So if you get the victory, who would you like to face next?
I don't know. I'll probably figure that out right after I get the win. So yeah, we just focus on this fight, locked in on this fight, and then we'll figure out everything afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much for your time, Derek, and good luck on the fight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Derek. You're all set.
Thanks.
This concludes today's UFC Fight Night Brunson versus Holland Virtual Media Day. Video recordings will be sent out later today. UFC Fight Night Brunson vs. Holland takes place Saturday, March 20th from UFC Apex in Las Vegas. The main card will begin live on ESPN and ESPN Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for joining, and you may disconnect.